Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to the Friday night edition of Spaced Out Radio tonight. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's Guru time. We're talking monsters, cryptids, paranormal, supernatural happenings around the Christmas break, and we're going to have a great time with the Crypto Guru tonight. I'm pumped up. You should be too, because the Guru's beard is in fine form this Christmas holiday. Fine form. Let's say hello to everyone coming on into the chat room tonight. We have Race Fan in the gold medal position. Michael Morris taking home the silver. Penny Van with a nice, strong bronze medal tonight. Roy Boy, how you doing? Logan L, nice to see you. Hadley and Brown Dwarf, good to have you here. D. Cohen and Brad Ford, good to have you. Kurt M, Samantha Hazelwood Gray, nice to see you both. Evan Walters is here. He's pissed us off so much that he is going to be signing autographs after the show tonight. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind, to the left of the studio. Sandy B, thank you for joining us. Thurston Howell III and Donna Spencer. Knight Rider, nice to have you back. And who else do we got here? Jessica Crystal J, Millennium, my man. W. David Page, John Swan. Good to see you all here. And who else is joining us? Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. All right, let's continue on with roll call. Pam Smith, Pink Volo, Jessica McCreary. Jessica McCreary, by the way, will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. Hello, James Weston and Richard Elmore. Ray Finn, nice to see you. Jim Christie, thanks for coming on in. High Dirt Road and Midwest Night Watchers. Good to have you both here. Joshua S., nice to see you. And Ross Smith, welcome, man. Julio Avalos, we love you, man. Thanks for coming on in. Merry Christmas to you as well. Mr. Cowley, welcome back to the show. Oh, Mr. Cowley loves his spaced out radio. Dim-de-dim, one of my favorite names to say. Pixie Lara and Mr. L, thanks for joining us. The Mac Geek and Mennonite Abe, good to see you. Eva. Marla Snyder, welcome to SOR Chat. Sally Elka, how are you? Atlantis is found. What's going on? Digger Dog, what's happening? Susie B, Noble Patrick, nice to see you both here. Good morning, Commonwealth Andrew. And who else is joining us here so far? Scrolling up, Uncle Dale and his Power Stash are here. Hell yeah. If you are in Austin, Texas, and you see Uncle Dale, rub his Power Stash for good luck right through the start of 2023. Yep. That mustache is awesome. We love you, Uncle Dale. Merry Christmas to you. I am Pam. No, I am Pam. You know what? I'm going to change my name right now. If you look at the screen, I am Pam. There we go. I'm Pam. Screw you all. I'm Pam. I am Pam. Simon, how are you? Good to see you, buddy. And let's start the radio side here. That way we can let Bill WD-40 in to the Spreaker chat, and he can lube us up for tonight's show. I am Pam. I'm Pam. I'm Pam. Exactly, James Weston. Davis Pam. Super chat is open, and let's rock this thing right now. I am Pam. Oh, maybe not yet. Like 28 seconds. I screwed that up. I was so excited. No, you cannot be Pam, Pixie Lara, because I am Pam. T2E, how are you? Good to see you. Oh, you can tell I'm giddy tonight because it's guru time. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, there we go. This time I got the horns up. Now we're right. I am Pam. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host. I am Pam, and I am sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. I am Pam. And digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do I am Pam a favor and hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Say, I am Pam, and check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show for you tonight as the Christmas time is under full swing. The Guru is back. Yes, we get a little Guru time with Ronald L. Murphy Jr., known as the Crypto Guru around here. We're talking monsters all night long and the monsters of 2022. Then in hour number 3, we're going to head to the swamp, and we're going to get another spooky story from Swamp Dweller. And little Timmy Senor will be here with the UFO report to finish off tonight's show. Now, I got to tell you, it's been literally 7.5 years that I have known the crypto guru, Ronald Murphy. I first interviewed this gentleman when he brought out his first book about the Chestnut Ridge way back in 2015. I'd been on the air for about 5 months, and I learned about this guy, Ronald L. Murphy Jr., and just the romanticism and the writing style that he has really helped me love the cryptid world. It took me to a completely new level. And since then, Ron has been a stalwart on Spaced Out Radio. And the Guru, which we call him around here, has literally toured all across the United States, going to conferences as a keynote speaker about the monsters that walk among us. You can find all of his books under Ronald L. Murphy Jr. on Amazon. And you know what? It's always a great time to have the Guru around here. It's Guru time tonight. Mr. Ronald L. Murphy, how are you, my friend? Merry Christmas to you. I'll get you to unmute your microphone, and we'll kick this thing off, my man.
There we go. Merry Christmas, Dave. Merry Christmas to everybody in the Spaced Out Radio world. I cannot wait for tonight.
I can't wait either. I get so pumped up at this time of year, man. I get so pumped up at this time of year, not only for our audience, but, for it brings out the kid in me, man. I am literally sitting here and, our radio listeners will listen to this show on a Monday night. Okay. But we're recording this on the Friday and December 23rd. And normally I don't give out the dates. We try and keep things, away from the dates and everything. But I'll tell you, man, I am pumped right up for this year, and I thought I was going to be able to make it home to see my mom and my dad. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it because of the fact that there's avalanche warnings in the canyon that separate us. And frankly, I wouldn't do good being crushed like that. That would really ruin my day, if you know what I'm saying. So I think we're probably going to be staying home. And I've already told my little guy, he said, we'll find out in the morning. I said, hey, little dude, if we got to stay home for Christmas, I said, what do you think? You and Dad go strap on the skates and go for a skate out on the lake and play some hockey. And he's like, really, Dad? And I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, let's do it. And I'm like, yeah. So I don't know what's going to go on, but we're going to have a good time tonight, my man. How are you? I mean, you know, you've got your brood around the house and getting ready for the festivities.
I do. But like you said, this is a time of expectation, right? And it doesn't matter if you're 5 or if you're 50. We have this certain feeling within us that, you know, we're looking forward to something better, right? So we are in the midst of winter right now. And I think all across the country, all across Canada, we're feeling that Arctic blast. So we're feeling that terrible, terrible bitterness that winter can provide. But we're also looking forward to this future that's promised as well, too. So Christmas is about the time of expectations. But as we go on through this evening, we are going to be talking about Christmas in a way that people used to look at it, you know, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, when it wasn't so hospitable.
I know. You know, we just got out of a cold snap here, man. For like a week and a half, it was below minus 30 Celsius. And I'll tell you, man, you go outside for like 2 seconds, your nostrils are frozen. Your mustache hair is frozen if you have a mustache, and if you don't, well, you're SOL. And you know, it's the cold that just hits you, and you know, but thank goodness for heat.
That's right. Yep. Thank goodness for civilization. But you know, in our minds right now, you and all the listeners have to conjure a time whenever we were an agricultural community, you know, 2,000 years ago in Europe, in the wilds of Europe. And this time of the year set in. It could be a frightening time of the year, right? And what's so cool about this time of the year, it's a continuation truly of the Samhain season when we talked about Halloween just a few months ago, right? The idea of this expectation that's coming, because the reason why the bonfires were burning at Halloween was the expectation for December 21st, which is the longest or the shortest day of the year. Now, what's going on now is every day after the 21st, we start getting some minutes added on to our daylight. So before long, we'll start having, you know, longer nights and everything. So this is what the ancients would have expected whenever they were lighting the bonfires and having their feasts on Halloween.
Absolutely, my man. Absolutely. Now, considering the magic that happens around Christmas time and New Year's, you know, a lot of us feel it. We all feel a new year coming where we could get ready to spring into the new you, or, you know, whether it's resolutions or whether it's superstition or whatever it may be, my man. You know, for you, when you look at Christmas and the magic around Christmas and New Year's, I mean, as somebody who is in the cryptid world or the magical world or the fairy world, how do you portray that?
Wow. Well, you know, I was raised a cradle Catholic, so I still hold on to those traditions. And, you know, so it's about midnight mass and it's about nativity scenes and advent calendar and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, there's a part of me, though, too, that sees this time as very special, because this is also a time of the year when the line between this world and the next, that veil between worlds, is also at its thinnest as well. So this is the time whenever it's more likely to encounter a ghost, or it's more likely to encounter fairies, or even cryptids for that matter, because the other world, that liminal zone at this point of the year, is blurred in a way that it's not blurred any other time besides on Halloween.
I realize that, and I know you're more of a Halloween guy than you are a Christmas guy. But you know, for you, do you look at your own personal magic within the eyes of your children and now your granddaughter?
Yeah.
Or do you still feel that kid inside of you who gets excited for Christmas morning, knowing that Santa Claus, came down the chimney and left all these presents?
That's a great point, because every time I go to the mall, I'm still going to walk past and see where Santa Claus is, and maybe even give him a wave every now and then. I'm still excited whenever I see the store Santas. I'm still excited whenever the lights go up and the tree goes up and the ornaments go on. I see it through new eyes. I see the magic in my children and my grandchild, of course, but there's also a magic in there that's going to always be part of me. That's something that we can never shake, right? I mean, this is the time of the year where we're looking forward to not only presents, but everybody being together under one roof, and everybody, having that peace on earth, goodwill towards men type of mentality. This is just a great time, I think, in our tradition, our collective tradition in the modern world.
Well, I do have to say something. I do have to interrupt you because my business partner, Ashy, is watching right now on Facebook. And he
Okay.
says it's the magic season of Dave getting out from under his bridge.
Wow.
I'm just going to show something here because if you guys, my fellow fans out there, and you won't be able to see it in Radio Land, but you can look right here. I mean, if you want to look and know what Ashy looks like, this is it right here. Okay, this is it. I mean, I'm surprised, with all the snow in the lower mainland right now, the poor gnome doesn't have anywhere to go, probably feeling a little homeless, trying to find a hot meal somewhere. So all I'm saying is, Ashy, my garden still needs you. I got deer rutting through my garden and my roots. So if you could make your way up, I could pay you about a quarter an hour to come on up here and take care of me. So that's what my business partner Ashy looks like right there. So
very cool. And that's a great visual as well to bring out, because when we talk about Santa Claus, we have to talk about the elves. And the elves are going to be coming from that Scandinavian tradition, the same tradition that brought us the gnomes. So that's part of that culture. I mean, that's part of that lineage. The little elves that are making our toys right now are of the same, DNA as that little gnome back there.
Oh, true enough. True enough. And I think a couple of years ago, I actually tried to apply for a job with Santa and got turned down because he was too small.
That's probably the case, because they
Probably.
upgraded things now.
Well, exactly. So, like I said, but I'll tell you, man, he tends a mean garden. He tends a mean garden.
I'm glad that you've lost that fear that you had of the gnomes and all of that kind, because without one in your garden, you're not going to have anything growing in there. You understand that, right?
Well, exactly. Exactly. By the way, he goes, "You bugger, shots fired." And then he says, "You punch drunk bastards."
What?
Oh,
wow,
yes.
Nice. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Nice. That's my business part. I love him. Ashy, Merry Christmas to you, my good friend. And I know you're listening. And, all the best to you and your family. And I love you, my brother. I really do love you. And I'll get a hold of you this weekend. But, Ron, let's continue on with the elves and Santa and the magic that kind of goes around with that. I mean, there's the great debate, that goes on, are we lying to our children? Is this healthy for them? Is it something that we shouldn't be doing? What do you think about that?
Well, I'm lucky again, like I said, because I was I'm Catholic, and we have a Saint Nicholas, our Santa Claus. So I never have to really lie to my children, because they ask me if there's a Santa Claus, and I say, yes, indeed, there is certainly a Saint Nicholas, and that is absolutely the case. But that Bishop of Myrna that was actually beatified and eventually made into a saint. We're going back, almost 1700 years. So we need to have something now out there that is ecumenical, and Santa Claus does that. But Santa Claus is different in so many different languages, in so many different cultures. So he's actually the epitome of the Christ child. in the Germanic notion. So Kris Kringle comes from the Christ child, Kinder. We have that as the personification of Jesus himself. And then throughout the rest of the world, he's just a jolly old man. But he too, my friend, if we read "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," we find out that he was also an elf who was capable of magic. He's actually called a jolly old elf, and if he lays his finger upside his nose, he can go up a chimney. So he's also a shapeshifter, and he can at will become something completely different than what he is.
Yeah, and we've got just a few minutes to go here before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, is our guest tonight. I do have to ask you, Ron. I mean, we always are steeped in traditions, when it comes to Christmas. And the one thing I love about you, my friend, is you have a very strong tradition of not eating breakfast foods for dinner or lunch. And I just wanted to commend you on that. It takes a strong man to really admit that breakfast foods are for breakfast only. And, a lot of people don't get that out there, Guru.
I do have something to share with you. Just a few minutes here. So my daughter and her child, my granddaughter, they recently moved back in with me a couple months ago. And she is very good, apparently, according to my other kids, at making dippy eggs, okay? And I came home from work one day, and my son, who's 14 years old, suggested that one evening we have breakfast for dinner. And after putting him into the corner and sending him up to bed without any supper, I said, we can't do this. This is an abomination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. My son tried to eat a bowl of cereal for dinner the other day.
No.
And, what I did, I gave him the worst punishment possible that I could, right? I sent him to the soccer field, right? Because I wouldn't wish the soccer field on any child, because I love children way too much. Okay. But I sent him to the soccer field, and I said, when you want to get that breakfast stuff for dinner out of your head, then you can come back in.
Right. Now, was it healthy cereal though?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but either way,
there's hope though. There's hope.
There is hope.
Yeah,
there is hope. But I think we smartened him up there a little bit, regarding that. But seriously though, we build around tradition. To me, tradition is much like superstition, where we set the rules, and this is the way it's going to be. We do the same thing every year. I mean, is that healthy for what we do? Because to me, superstition is kind of looking into the darker side, that if you don't do your superstitions or traditions, something may break, or something may change the course of the space-time continuum.
Right. I think there's a couple ways of looking at it, Dave, and that's actually a very good question. So the word tradition actually comes from the Latin. It literally means to hand down. So like you said, that's basically what's going on. We're handing it from one generation to the next. So we have this lineage, within a family or within a particular culture. But in that tradition, we also have various superstitions. One of the things that we are afraid about this time of the year is whether we're going to appear on the naughty list or the nice list, right? These are all built-in factors, part of superstition, part of tradition as well, too. So we have this idea that some sort of omniscient being is watching over us. And if we do not do our due diligence in being a good boy or a good girl, we don't reap any kind of rewards from that person, right? So there is a part of that in the traditional aspect. There is superstition, and there's always going to be superstition out there, because we as human beings feed upon that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we do. I mean, when you look at your family, what are your traditions?
Well,
what do
they
you
tried
have
to start that gosh darn elf thing with me. I would not fall for that. No, I would not fall for that. Yeah. So what we need to do is on Christmas Eve, we have to have milk and cookies out for Santa. And not only that, but we have to leave out carrots for the reindeer, because they're coming here, and that's a way of saying thank you, right? Also, everybody has to be in bed by midnight, because Santa Claus can't work if we're still awake. So that's the other thing as well too. And the house has to be completely clean. We can't have any toys around, because if Santa Claus comes in and sees toys here, he might think he was already here and pass us by. So that's a way of me keeping my house in order for a couple days before and after Christmas. And it works pretty well, you know. The tradition also of putting on certain ornaments on the trees. Each year the kids have made ornaments, so that keeps on adding to the collection. And now my granddaughter has added to our tree. And these are great little things, you know, and these are probably common as well here in Western Pennsylvania, because I learned them from my mother, and I'm sure she learned them from her mother. So it's part of that. Like you said, there's no other time of the year like this. And as much as I am infatuated with Halloween, Christmas really does show us the ghosts of our family that is no longer here. They're still here. You know, all the people that I've lost in my life, my mother, my dad, my grandmother, everybody, they're still here whenever we're putting the ornaments up on the trees, because I learned it from them and they learned it from their parents. So it's like we have a family gathering here every year, because we are really leading on what I was taught by people, you know, whenever I was a kid.
Yeah, see, for us, as I was mentioning just the other night, for us, it's socks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my mom and dad have always got us socks,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it. And you know, with my mom being ill this year and now in a home, after nearly losing her, I was depressed, man.
Mm-hmm.
I was depressed because all of a sudden, you know, this lovely young lady at one of the stores here in town, I brought some socks up to pay for my son. Okay. And she just very innocently goes, "Oh, socks, such a great Christmas present, you know, that's so underrated." And she was just beautiful about it. And it hit me right there that even though my mom's still alive, this is the first Christmas that I'm not getting socks.
All right.
So I called up my dad and I'm like, "Dad, like, you know, I know you're a little financially tight right now and you're worried about, you know, what do you get us kids for Christmas?" I said, "Go sock shopping."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "That's a family tradition. You know,
Yep.
go sock shopping." And he was more than pumped to do that. More
Yep.
than pumped, man.
Yep. We've always gotten socks and underwear for Christmas, and I carried on that tradition this year as well. Both of my girls are going to be getting socks that were apparently made in Iceland. I'm not sure, but they're handsome looking socks. But yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? Um, for our birthday, if somebody would give us underwear or socks, we would look at it the same as during Christmas. But because we received that from our parents, and you know, I passed that down as well too. That's part of that thing, you know, that part of that tradition where the kid has a gift. The kid's not going to be able to play with it, but he's going to appreciate it. And I know that my children will be buying their kids socks for Christmas as well.
Oh yeah, I love it. I
Mm.
absolutely love it. You know, and we'll be doing the turkey dinner and all that kind of stuff. And you know, I mean, you have your traditional family stuff that you got to do, but I mean, you know, it's such an exciting time of year, man. And I will say this, as we got about 40 seconds to go. One of the hardest things, and I never got into that elf thing, thank God.
Mm.
Oh, I hate that elf
I do
thing.
too. I do
But
too.
the hardest thing is trying to find traditions to start.
Mhm.
And we, you know, since moving up here, we've actually started that if it's warm enough on Christmas Day, after we open our presents and after we, you know, relax, have breakfast and everything, you know, and the kid plays with his toys a little bit, then we go out for a skate
Mm.
out on the lake. Grab the skates, grab the gloves, grab a lawn chair so we could sit down and tie our skates on, and we go play a little hockey.
That's awesome.
And that was one of the traditions that I've started in my family now. Guru, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. When we
Sure.
return on Spaced Out Radio, we are going to get into some monster talk. Let's find out what the Guru loved about the monsters that he encountered in 2022. Then we'll get into more cryptid talk around Christmas right after this on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned. I am Pam. I am Pam, everybody. I am Pam. Oh yeah, it's a good show so far.
It always goes
Good
quick.
show so far. Yeah.
So what's on the agenda for Vegas this year?
I have my team arriving on the Thursday night,
Okay.
and I know a lot of our listeners will be there as well on the Thursday. But on the Thursday night, I'm taking my team out for dinner, and then the Friday during the day, it's kind of do what you want because a lot of people will be coming in that day, and then Friday night we're going to be having a VIP get together. So a lot of our special guests, such as yourself and a number of others who get there, we're gonna have an area cordoned off for people who buy VIP tickets, where they could get their swag bags and everything like that, and hang out and say chat with you or grab pictures or whatever. We'll do that for a couple of hours, and then that evening people can tail off to do what they want. And then on the Saturday, we are going to be having the live YouTube show for about 7 hours.
Nice.
Jessica Jones is going to be there. She's going to be hosting the first 2 hours. Our after hours crew is going to be hosted with Grant Baker, and the rest of the team is going to be hosting the next 2 hours, and then I'll do 2 to 3 hours, but we're going to want to put a break in between so people can grab a little bite to eat in between, and we're going to be doing some mingling, and then afterwards we'll figure out a place to go. And then Sunday we're thinking about potentially holding a poker tournament or something along those lines for people who want to play, and after the YouTube channel, we have a few people who are going to be taking whoever wants to go out into the desert to go sky watching for UFOs.
Nice.
And then on the Sunday, some people will go home, but those who are staying till Monday, it'll just be a relaxing day. We may have a poker tournament, or just all of us just even go sit at a cash table. It'll be time for people just to hang out and just chill out. And hey, I encourage our listeners that, like, say for instance, Guru, you're out for dinner, and we get a few listeners who say, hey, I want to go have lunch with the Guru today. That you just like last year, it was just so natural where you'd see Katie Grabowski and Tom Whitmore out, and all of a sudden you'd see them sitting beside listeners because the listeners joined them for lunch. You know what I'm saying? And it just made it perfect. It made it perfect. It's nice and relaxed. It's kind of do what you want. And then the Sunday night, for those who are still left, fire hall's getting called out. It's it is just kind of like a relaxed hangout session. Have a couple of drinks and just be one with the audience, man. It's actually
awesome.
A beautiful time.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Same hotel?
Yeah, Golden Nugget.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And the man with 8,362 podcasts, Brian Bowden, is going to be there as well.
Is he? I didn't hear about this. Tell me about this. I did not know this.
Yeah. Double B is coming. You're coming. Carter Bouchard is coming back.
Nice.
He's a big, Carter. He's a Bigfoot researcher out of Missouri.
Absolutely.
Nate and Corey Rudd are coming from Washington, Idaho Bigfoot Society. Merle from Ghosts of the Great White North is coming. And then we get a bunch of UFO people coming. There's Brian Bowden right there.
That's right. Yes. I've made up my mind, Brian. I will tell you this, and I posted this today on Twitter. my goal for 2023 is to find myself a goth girl. That's what I'm looking for right now. That's what's on the Guru's menu right now. So if we go out there, Brian, I know that you're a minister. You can get me and whatever goth girl I hook up with married out there in Las Vegas.
There we go. Here we go with the second half hour, everyone. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Hey, we continue on tonight with the crypto guru, Ronald L. Murphy Jr. He comes on in to talk all sorts of monsters. You can find all of his books on Amazon. You definitely want them for your collection. And Guru, we welcome back. I'm kind of laughing here in the chat room because Science Bob, who's everybody knows from this show, he's typing in there, "Oh, it's so cold at 10 Fahrenheit." Hey, Bob.
Yeah, I think we're minus 6. Yeah,
that's hoodie weather. Hoodie weather, Bob.
Yeah, I think we're minus 6 here in Western Pennsylvania now.
Oh, that's nothing.
No.
Nothing. You know, that's where you may put on a thicker pair of socks. But that's about it. Holy cow. Man,
yeah.
After the week I've had of near minus 40 Fahrenheit, okay, I'm warmed up to everything. I walked outside today, it was minus 12 Celsius, okay, wow. And I thought I hit a heat wave, man. I was like ripping my clothes off and running around my yard half naked. Felt like a heat wave. It was awesome.
Well, not only do you have this snow and this freezing cold up there, you also have to contend with bears and like moose and mountain lions up there.
Yeah, no bears at this time.
Well, no bears. Okay, great.
Yeah, they're hibernating.
Yeah.
But the mountain lions, that's the one that scares me.
Yeah, that scares the heck out of me too. And we have one listener here, somebody from Pittsburgh right there said it was minus 3. Who is that? Joseph Yanni? Is that who that is? I'm trying to keep up with these guys too. These guys are so interesting over here.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, my friend. Pretty awesome. All right, let's look back at 2022 here for you, because you were all over the place around the eastern part and central part of the United States, kind of going to conference after conference. You had a big year for yourself. What was being discussed this year? Was it a real good year for cryptid research?
It was a good year. I'm not sure about research, but it was a good year for people coming together and talking about the research that was already done. Dogman, of course, was the biggest thing that was on the agenda. I did a conference in Paris, Tennessee, that was just on the Dogman alone. That was the only thing that was discussed. And it was extremely interesting, to tell you the truth. It was about an 8-hour conference. I let it off at 9 o'clock in the morning. I thought that I would be bringing donuts because nobody was going to come to hear me talk at 9 o'clock in the morning. But there was about 500 people there. And it was just jam-packed from open to close. And there was a lot of good theories brought up, everything from a military mistake gone haywire to something out there in the wilderness, something extraterrestrial. So it was a good time to have an open forum about various subjects. Let's put it that way. But one of the biggest things about 2022 that I was really excited about is we've been getting a lot of Bigfoot footage, haven't we? There was that one Bigfoot that was on that small island in the middle of the lake. I believe that was in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, where it was seen walking between the trees by a boater. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And there's this brand new footage out of Ontario. that shows a Bigfoot walking along the side of a lake that was
Yes,
captured by people on the boat. I mean, I thought that was pretty stellar footage, man.
I did too. I think that what's going on right now is that even if people aren't interested in cryptid research, there are so many cameras out there and so many tech toys like drones that probably somebody that has no interest in this stuff at all is going to provide us with the best evidence. I truly believe that. But I don't know what to make of these ones about these Bigfoot that are caught serendipitously just walking in a natural habitat, maybe a 1 or 2 second glimpse of them as they pass through trees. This is very interesting to me. And as a researcher, it's very exciting because we are getting some never before seen footage that is very clear at this point. No more blob squatches going on. We're starting to see actual movement of these creatures.
How many of these videos do you trust though? Because the past 10 years or so, there's been a real push for fake videos on Sasquatch, and some of the costumes look absolutely horrific. Others look extremely well. I mean, how are we, the laymen out there who have an interest in this subject, how do we decipher whether or not something is real or fake?
Right, that's a great question. I usually put it down on whoever's trying to profit from it. If it starts appearing on a lot of different news shows, or probably the death knell for these kind of things to prove authenticity, if it appears on a sci-fi channel show, or one of those programs wherever you have this panel of quote unquote experts telling you that what you're seeing is undoubtedly a Bigfoot, that usually leads me to the direction that we are talking about a fake here, because there's money to be made off of it. There's profit to be made off of it. And knowing that people are going to try to fake it and try to outdo other people, it's going to be a contest. But whenever people are out on a family excursion and they take a picture of something that they simply cannot explain and they turn it over to usually the YouTube community and ask, what do you think of this? Those are the ones that I give more credence to, not the ones that have this film in their hands and they go waving it and selling it off to the highest bidder.
No, that is very true, and I understand exactly what you're saying with that. So, out of all the stories you heard in 2022, which ones really captivated you?
Again, there was, I believe he was an attorney, either an attorney or a state policeman who had a run-in with a dog man in Land Between the Lakes, on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee. He was overcome with emotions whenever he was telling the story. He was in tears. Those kind of stories really affect me because it affected the experiencer to a point that he was systemically hit. You know what I mean? Like his whole entire being was hit pretty hard. But I will tell you a couple of other things. So in 2022, I made a series with Seth Breedlove and his Small Town Monsters called Sasquatch Uncovered: The Ridge, which is currently playing on YouTube. It's absolutely free. There's 6 episodes, and it follows the investigations of Bigfoot investigations on the Chestnut Ridge area here in Western Pennsylvania and parts of West Virginia. It's the second episode that was really kind of took me aback a bit. We were out there in the woods, and usually whenever you're in the woods with a camera crew, nothing happens because while we were not reenacting anything, we were out there showing how investigations go. So there was a lot of people out there in the woods, and that's never good for investigations. But we were out there, and we started to hear what sounded like wind chimes, something that I've never just heard before. So we hear these wind chimes going, and then we hear these weird vocalizations, typical Bigfoot vocalizations in the distance. And then comes the wood knocks. Okay. Now it starts going to get a little bit eerie. And this is all on film, which is really kind of cutting it. I've never seen anything like this before. So if you want to evaluate this yourself, you can go look at it yourself. But what happens then is we know that something's going on out there. So we break up in various teams to see if we can get to the bottom of this. And then off to my right, we see three what appears to be lanterns moving through the woods, and all of a sudden the lanterns keep on moving, and then they start rising into the air until they reach about maybe 30 feet up into the canopy of the trees. We knew that something very bizarre was going on at this point. So at this point, there was about two cameramen and a sound guy. We start going out and we start trying to get close to these lights as close as we can get. And the lights are still there, even on film. They're weaving in and out of the trees. They're actually approaching our groups at times as well too. And whenever people get close enough to them, sometimes 11 feet, sometimes that close, they simply disappear. It was as if these lights were not only intelligent, but they were actually playing a game of cat and mouse with us to prove some sort of point. Never before. Now, I will tell you, I've witnessed these kind of lights before in the woods, but never before at this kind of, massive level. There was many lights. We're not talking about one or two lights. We're talking about dozens of lights, and everybody was seeing this as well too. And like I said, very rarely is this stuff ever captured on film, but it indeed was. So out of all the expeditions and investigations I've done in 2022, that by far was the most astounding, and one that I seriously cannot put my finger on and explain away. Actually, I was so startled by this, I wrote a book called Earthlights, which is yet to be published yet. But that will be my newest book, because I simply wanted to get to the bottom of what was going on. And as I did the research for this, it's very probable that we as human beings have been witnessing Earthlights for millennia, or maybe even from the very first time that we were humans. That's part of our culture. And a lot of people forget about that. And so what are they? Are they emanations from the earth? Are they something completely natural? Or are they something of a more spiritual nature? We talk about fairy lights, the will-o'-the-wisp, taking a form of a light to lead people astray. Whenever I was up on the Chestnut Ridge that night, that's what it seemed like we were dealing with.
So, do you think the lights are connected to the fairies, the UFOs, the strange phenomena of everything that is going on in that area?
Yeah, that's a great point, Dave. And that's what I was thinking about too whenever I was writing this book. If we were out there investigating UFOs, these lights would be a definitive UFO encounter, okay? Number one. However, on the flip side of that, say that we were out there doing a ghost investigation. Again, definitive proof that we are now encountering disembodied orbs, correct? So it really kind of leads me to believe that these lights may be involved in many, many experiences and encounters. And if that is the case, are these lights able to take shape and form and become a Bigfoot, or become a dogman, or become a gray alien? What exactly are we dealing with at this point? Because if we were in a religious area, this could have been easily identified as a religious experience, angelic encounters with the sounds of the wind chimes going and everything like that. It's something that really has affected me. It's something I think about on a daily basis. And it really impacted every single member that was out there in the woods, like I've never seen happen before.
What goes through your mind when you have an experience like that?
This was one of those strange experiences where my initial response to the strange, and my initial response to things that are confrontational, is to immediately get out of there. The idea of flight and self-preservation is something that's very dear for me. I'm definitely not a fighter. But there was no fear whenever this was going on. This was a curiosity. And I believe that I was under no harm. There was no harm. Whatever was going on out there did not want to harm us. They wanted to maybe evaluate us, but did not harm us in any way. So that experience to me, again, sometimes I even get choked up about this, but that experience was like nothing else I've ever investigated before. And it was really kind of life-changing in a way, because it's not like I saw something and nobody else could corroborate what was going on. So many people were out there seeing exactly the same thing, and not only catching it, but catching it on video as well, that it seemed as if we were kind of granted this experience. And I know we talked about this on the show before, but it seemed as if they were aware that we were out there, and it was kind of a gift to say, this is as far as we're going to let you into our world, but we're at least going to let you have a sneak peek.
When you say this is, we're going to give you a look at our world, Ron, to me that is very deep. Okay, that is very deep, because I do believe that they do have a world somewhere. And the more that investigators mature into this this business, or this field of research, whatever you want to call it, the more we start seeing people understanding that cryptids, paranormal, ghosts, UFOs, aliens, consciousness, whatever it may be, is all interconnected. It's
right.
It's all one phenomena. And when you look at it from that aspect, where do you think their world is? Is it a different dimension? Is it out in space? Is it all around us that we just can't see it? Like there, back in the day, there used to be, rumors and old wives' tales that the spirit realm, the reason why we never saw the feet of ghosts was because the spirit realm actually started 2-3 feet above our ground. I don't know if you ever remember hearing that one.
Yep.
Okay. Where do you think it is?
I truly believe that the other world is mingled with our world. I think it's like a layer of an onion. I think that our world is just a layer, above or below or whatever it's going on there. And it's also, translucent. I think that we can sometimes see the light that's coming from that world, and they obviously can see the light that's coming from our world. But I think that it's so intertwined and overlapping that you really can't untangle it. I think we're dependent upon each other in a way that we cannot comprehend. And I think that the way there's communication going on there as well, too. And we also do not understand that as well, too. But I've always felt that the other world wasn't like a destination on a map. The other world was almost a transcendent experience where we have to simply open our eyes and believe that that world is out there within our own. So as a teacher, I'll give you a real quick little story about this. As a teacher, I always had access to 20 children, at a time. And I tended a lot to deal with the natural world, because I think that it's fundamental that children do not have nature deficit disorder. And I also believe that children learn best whenever they can put their hands on something and actually experience things around them. So I'm very big on that. So we were going to do a walk down to a river near where the school was located, and I was lucky to have access to this area. There was bald eagles there. I mean, it was a pretty wild area. So I thought that I would try a bit of experiment, because I was actually in the process of writing a book at this time. So I thought, let me experiment with these kids for a little bit. So we played some classical music back in the classroom. I didn't tell them what was going on. And I said, just close your eyes and just allow the music to kind of weave in and out of you. Let it just sink in until you can feel that vibration in your body, okay? So we did that for about 20 minutes, because that's about the attention span for a little kid. And then we went on our walk down to the nature area. And I said the same thing again down there. I said, okay, we're all going to sit in the grass. We're going to close our eyes, and we're just going to let the sound of nature become you. I want you to be nothing more or nothing less than these sounds that surround you. And I said, and keep your eyes open too. Now, don't keep your eyes, don't open your real eyes, but keep your mind's eyes open too. And think about what's around you. So we went back to the classroom after we were down there. And I said, okay, I want you to draw a picture of what you saw. And 18 out of the 20 children all drew the same image, which was of these large eyes and this kind of almond-shaped head. So it would be reminiscent very much of a gray alien. I mean, that's probably what it would become closest to. but these images of these um, uh, almost humanoid type of creatures was something that these children felt was in that world around them, and nobody was copying off of each other. So 18 little kids sat down at a table and they all drew something that looked extremely similar to each other, and that was really a mind-opening thing to me as well too, because people have said that children have not been indoctrinated out of the believing in the supernatural, right? In the same way animals can sometimes sense that. So I'm thinking that under the right circumstances, that those two worlds kind of bleed into each other. And it's possible that we just have to be open to it and accepting of it in order to see it.
Yeah, but you have to walk a very fine line as a school teacher with bringing in meditation and everything like that, man.
Yeah, you know what? So there's a lot of good buzzwords going out right now. The idea of self is a very big buzzword right now in all forms of psychology. So the idea of self-care is what I was dealing with. Okay. So the idea that you're allowing yourself to kind of de-stress by not using any kind of your functions and just allowing everything around you to uh, I guess, inform you about what's going on. So the classical music, I use music a lot because music can get you very jazzed up, or it could also be very sad. So the idea of allowing your environment to kind of inform the way you feel was something that I think that could be taught very well to these children, and it does work out well because people use art therapy all the time, and they use music therapy all the time. And I was just taking that one step further and going into nature therapy.
Oh, very true. Very true. We got 2 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy, is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Guru, when you're dealing with the fresh minds of kids like that, do they come up to you and ask you a lot about monsters? Do they know the hidden side of the guru?
They do. So it started whenever my kids were in elementary school, and their school found out that I did it. So they asked me to come in and talk about Bigfoot, which was great. So I incorporate the idea of Bigfoot into science classes, because if Bigfoot is a flesh and blood animal out there, he has to eat, he has to find a place to live. We talk about migration. Kids naturally love monsters. And to figure out that a monster of that size has to take in like 10,000 calories a day, it's a lot interesting to teach them these kind of lessons, mathematical lessons, and the idea of ecology by having a monster walking you through it and teaching you. I think it's a great idea, and I've developed that for a lot of different courses. I even had a little Bigfoot as a mascot for one of the nature preschools that I had developed, because I think the kids naturally are so infatuated by these things. And if that Bigfoot is something they can relate to, then that Bigfoot then becomes the teachers, and the kids aren't even realizing that they're learning anything, because it's just part of this nature of this creature that they love so much.
Okay, quickly here, 30 seconds. Yeah. What do your fellow teachers then say to you about monsters?
Yeah, see, they're not big on that. So I remember whenever I first signed my contract, I was taken into the office and they said, "Hey, Ron, we know you do this kind of stuff, but we don't want you talking about it." So I was outside one time whenever the car pickup lines came up, and this guy came up to pick up his daughter, and he spit out this chewing tobacco, and he wiped off his mouth, with the back of his hand. He said, "Are you that ghost guy?" And I said, "Yeah," because I was in the paper about something. He goes, "Hey, would you take me out on an investigation?" And ever since they found out about that, they were very open.
Very nice. The crypto guru, Ronald Murphy. You can find all of his books on Amazon. Ronald L. Murphy Jr. He's got a bunch of them there that you would love to add to your cryptid collection. We're going to continue with the monster talk when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Guru time is next. That was a good half hour, man.
It's flying by, man. It's flying by.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guru time. Love it. Friggin' love it.
It's some good stuff. I I was trying to read some of these things. I like to keep up with everybody that's on here, but they were coming fast and furious there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm going to step away for a second. You can chat with the audience because I know you like chatting with them. I'll be right back,
love
okay?
chatting with the audience. Yes. I'm trying to see wherever we left off here. Petty Van sounds like wisps. The will of the wisp. That's exactly what I thought that it was. I didn't have any other logical explanations, but that seems to meet the descriptions. Let's see what's going on here. Terry. I really can't take this cold anymore, folks, though. This is ridiculous. I started getting cold whenever it's like 65 degrees. Let's see. Nick Yak, can you give me a hint what you're bringing me for Christmas? Well, I hate to break this to you, but you're on the naughty list. Let's see. Yeah, Penny, I agree with you. They've been around for eons. I think that we've always known about these things. I think that our legends and our folklore have talked about these things for millennia. And now, in a day and age when we have video cameras and we are scientific, we don't want to discuss these things, but I think it's essential that we do. Kurt, I just talked to somebody. I thought Oregon was pretty cold out there today. Isn't it like 19 out there today? Yes, Penny, I agree as well too. You know, one of my favorite subjects, of course, is going to be fairies. I'd like to talk about fairies all the time. Big fan. Yeah, so yes, last year my furnace went out in February, one of the coldest months around. And because COVID was still around, it took me a month to get my furnace replaced. I had to get a whole new furnace. So $4,000 later, and less than a year later, my furnace doesn't seem to be working very well anymore. So I think I'm gonna have to call somebody. But because it's going to be Christmas Eve tomorrow, I don't think anybody's going to be out here until Monday. So I don't think it's even 60 degrees in this house. But again, like I said, I live in an old house. It has very, very minor insulation in it, and the windows are starting to freeze up. So I think I need to do some weatherization on this thing pretty soon. Yes, your Fae are frozen. 10 degrees, minus 10 degrees in Minnesota. Although Minnesota is one of my favorite places on earth, to tell you the truth. Wow, 2 degrees yeah, I do have a warranty on that. I gotta find it someplace though. I'm not very good whenever it comes to paperwork. Nick, hope to get a Mickey Mantle signed baseball bat. I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can get a word into Santa.
You say they're Guru?
Hey, this is good. These guys, a lot of people on here are interested in fairies. I love to see that. Good to see Mr. Joe Monk in the chat room as well, too.
Yes, he's been around forever. Got 1 minute, Guru.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Jack Russell before, and boy, that dog those are hyper dogs. They jump all the time, and this one was mean.
All right. Bear with me, Guru. I want to say thank you to Brian Bowden, Science Bob, and Surf Jer for the super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Hello, Robert Lamoth. How you doing, buddy? And yeah, Guru's coming to Vegas.
I am.
He's one of our stars that'll be there. And we love it. We're going to have some serious Guru time May 19th through 21st at the Golden Nugget Casino and Resort. We want all of you to be there. So we'll get you some information soon. Here we go with hour number 2, everyone.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Panini. Panini is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with a little guru time. The crypto guru, Ronald L. Murphy Jr., is here once again. He is a fan favorite. We love it when he joins us, and we're talking about monsters of 2022 here on the big show. And you know what? You can get all of Ron's books by going to Amazon.com, typing in Ronald L. Murphy Jr. You want to add these to your collection. Guru, welcome back.
Hey, thank you. I would rather be no place else besides here on Spaced Out Radio tonight.
Well, we know you have a soft spot in your heart for us, and we do for you as well, my friend.
I do. You know, without Spaced Out Radio, I would not be the crypto guru. You gave me that name.
I did. You know,
Yeah.
And now everybody calls you it, man. It's awesome.
I know. I love it.
Let me ask you that. What's that like? You know, I mean, I've been calling you the crypto guru for like 7 years.
Yeah.
What's that like when you go to a conference and you're sitting at your table and somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, crypto guru," what's that like?
Well, the thing is, though, this is extremely strange, and I will tell you this. Whenever I hear them say that name, automatically I know that you're in the room with me as well, too, which seems kind of strange, but this is true. You know, it doesn't matter where I go, inevitably at least 2 or 3 people will come up and say, "I heard you on Spaced Out Radio." True story. So, you know, and I'm glad, because remember all those years ago, whenever I started, I had one of these Spaced Out Radio banners I used to take with me whenever I did conferences way back in that prehistoric era. Do you remember that, Dave, back then?
Yes.
And
yes, I do.
It was something, because now, you know, everybody, you know, you're just synonymous out there whenever it comes to paranormal radio. So whenever we go out to any of these events, no matter where we go, everybody knows me from being on your show. So there you go.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful. And thank you for promoting us the way that you do. You know, in 2022, I had a Bigfoot experience. I had a couple UFO experiences, not as much paranormal. I mean, did you notice a difference in what you were searching for this year?
Yeah, I think that and I'm not big on whenever it comes to like, things being in retrograde and all that stuff, or what constellation the moon is in or the sun is in or whatever. But the people that keep track of this claim that is part of the whether it's the evolution that's going on or whatever. But I've been hearing a lot of people talking about a great awakening coming up, that all this UFO stuff and all this Bigfoot stuff, it's not that it's going to be disclosed by any kind of government, but it will almost be as a revelation, as if these things will reveal themselves to us. And if you believe in that kind of stuff, it does seem indeed that that's what's going on, because I agree with you, my friend. It's not the same old this last year, this year that we're in right now. Things are completely different. The way experiences are taking place and the feelings that are involved with these experiences and how they come about is far different than in the past. We opened up this show talking about these Bigfoot videos that are taken by happenstance. So it does seem that these creatures out there, and we talked about this previous as well too, that they are kind of opening themselves up to certain people and gifting them with these experiences. So whatever the agenda is for that, and I definitely do not know, but it does seem like there is something afoot, no pun intended, that we are going to be opened up to before long.
What do you think we are anywhere close to being more understanding or proving an existence of any of these creatures?
So proof, no, not scientifically at least. But the acceptance of these creatures being out there, I think definitely yes. I don't think that science is ever going to be solely, firm on these things unless they put them down on the table and they start opening them up and all that kind of stuff. But I do believe that people are less likely to look at you as if you have some sort of problem whenever you start talking about the paranormal. Paranormal is now not a fringe subject anymore. It's become part of the mainstream. Once that happened, my friend, I think these are some of the reasons why there's a more of an opening up of things. And I have a cat here on my thing. That's why there's more of an opening up of things. And I think that this is another reason why the government has a hard time of putting one over on us as well, too. This kind of false propaganda and this kind of malicious disclosures and things. They're not that easy to put one over on us anymore. I think that we're much wiser when it comes to the paranormal. And I think that we're much more, we now have a vernacular to work with whenever it comes to this as well, too. So we can go toe to toe with any of these people at this point. And I think that what's going on out there, somebody just, YJ Overlander just said, the age of Aquarius. I think that there is something opening up that is above and beyond who we are, who governments are. I think it's something that's opening up. And this opening up will kind of link us not only with the other side, but more with humanity as well.
So if you were to go through each and every cryptid that you have either written about, from the past to the present, and you've written about everything from fairies to mermaids to puckwudgies, Bigfoot, Dogman, everything in between. Out of all those creatures, what do you think truly exists? I understand. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand people are having experiences with them, Guru. All right. And when we can't put those in a closet and say, well, just because I don't believe that creature exists, that, it's not out there. But for the Guru, which creatures do you believe truly do exist?
So I will answer it this way. And whenever I was out in the woods and I saw those lights and everything like that, and lights, of course, is some sort of energy. I'm coming to the conclusion, Dave, that what we are witnessing out there might be all one and the same. It might be an intrinsic energy that's part of this earth that's able to manifest itself in a different form or allow us to see it in a different form. And what we talk about as looking for Bigfoot or looking for Dogman or even extraterrestrials might be one and the same. This energy might be the link that ties it all together, that there is this intelligence out there that we cannot quite grasp, but it does interact with us and it can manipulate the way we see the world around us as well.
Okay, but you didn't answer my question though.
Well, I think that
Is it big? Is it like? Do you believe Bigfoot exists?
I think absolutely. I think the Bigfoot exists, but I don't know what his essence is. See, I don't know.
Define essence.
So, people talk about flesh and blood Bigfoot, or people talk about interdimensional Bigfoot or extraterrestrial Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot as this archetype definitely exists out there. But where his origin story comes from, where he comes from, where he emanates from is something that I do not quite know.
What about the Goat Man?
These become a little bit more difficult for me because we have Goat Man and we have Bat Squatch and we have all these other kind of colloquial things that are regional, right? Again, my opinion on these is that what people are seeing in these areas are their regional version of what's something that we already know. It's a Bigfoot character or it's a Dogman creature that is cast into something else to fill a regional legend.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about gnomes?
Oh, absolutely, man. So whenever it comes to the Fae, whenever it comes to the world of the Fae, I really have no problem telling you unequivocally that the idea that there is a world of intelligent nature entities out there, I have no problem saying that whatsoever. I think that gnomes, I think that fairies, I think that all of these things that people have been talking about for thousands of years is all out there. And again, these might be what is responsible for the Bigfoot legends and the Dogman legends and even UFO sightings. So I keep on going back. It's kind of circular logic, but I keep on going back to the idea that what we might be seeing out there is all coming from the same source. It's just projecting and showing itself differently from time to time.
Okay, so out of all the creatures then that are out there, okay, what do you think is the closest one we're ready to prove an existence to? Is it Bigfoot? Is it I think we're pretty close on extraterrestrials. That's been a great debate for the last 5 years. But outside of Bigfoot and extraterrestrials.
Wow, that is a difficult one. I was doing some research on Nessie the other day, and I found out that 2022 had the least amount of sightings, I think, maybe in history. There's only 7 sightings this year. So I don't know what's going on there. Now, so in the world of cryptids, that's kind of a loaded question because within that world could also be like the thylacine, right? So we could talk about the Tasmanian tiger. And I thought that would be the first cryptid that would be kind of revealed to still be in existence. But if we're talking about something that has no basis on a remnant population of anything that we know for sure, I would like to think that it would be Bigfoot. I would like to think that it would be something that would be big, a bipedal creature walking through North America. I think that would eventually come under some sort of conditions where it dies or gets hit by a car or a hunter shoots it or whatever. But I would think that if there is going to be a discovery and a eureka moment whenever it comes to the monsters out there, it would be the discovery of a Bigfoot in some way.
Right. Now, do you believe then that, we need a body to prove the existence?
We don't. So you and I don't, and I think the majority of the people in the chat room don't either. But I think that in order for it to have a scientific name and for it to go into a textbook and for it to be talked about on college campuses in a way that we could have some sort of interdisciplinary interplay about it, it's going to have to be, unfortunately.
I don't know, man. I don't know if we'll ever get one, though.
Right. So if we don't ever get one, and these are all good questions as well, too. If we never get anything like that, are they always going to live in the fringe of something that's nightmare? Are they always going to be in the shadows that it can never be talked about academically? I will tell you, whenever we did the Dogman conference, I thought for sure that conference should have been taking place in an academic setting. I truly do, because I think whenever it comes to this kind of stuff, there's a sociological background in it. There is a psychological background. There are anthropological influences in this as well, too. And this is something that needs to be talked about in a place where people can learn from it. And unfortunately, it's relegated to the periphery. It's in some little place along a highway. It's something that's never going to be looked at with regards the same way as if you're doing a conference, say, on Shakespeare or something. But I think that we need to get this into the forefront. I think shows like this are definitely doing that. But I think that we need to get it into the forefront whenever I say I've had a Bigfoot experience, and it's not somebody with an Indiana Jones hat coming up to talk to you, but it's somebody from the anthropology department or the sociology department coming to talk to you about that. Because I truly feel that if we would have more interdisciplinary approach to this subject, we would be a lot farther ahead than we are now.
What's the scientific community missing?
The proof. They're missing the proof. There also is jealousy out there. People are doing things, these boots on the ground people are doing things that these professors would never dream about doing, okay? And not only are they going out there, but they are getting a modicum of results, right? They're bringing back evidence. And I don't think that the scientific community knows what's going on. Whenever I was studying history, there was always a bit of a feud between historians and people that were Gettysburg reenactors, because a lot of these Gettysburg reenactors, they had a high school education, yet they knew far more about that segment of history than somebody that had a PhD in it, because they lived it, right? They were interacting with it every day. And I think that's what's going on as well, too, because these things are not written about in books with $150 at the college library. They're not going to be taken seriously. And there's also not a lot of money in them either from an academic point of view. It would be great, and Jane Goodall had suggested this kind of stuff as well, too. It would be great if a university would fund a Bigfoot investigation or expedition or something. I think if something like that would happen, even though that might be a publicity stunt. But I think if a place would do this, it would open up the idea of the cryptozoological and this fringe into something that it really needs to be. It needs to be a topic of open debate where everybody can talk about it without any fear of reprisal.
Okay. The scientific community really doesn't want to believe in this. I mean, otherwise we'd get more people jumping on the bandwagon along with Dr. Jeff Meldrum and Melba Ketchum and many others who have studied these topics with a scientific eye. Do you think science is afraid to prove the existence of any new creatures, especially within North America?
Right. So another good point.
May I continue on that for a moment?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I want to continue that is one of the people I trust on this subject is Duke Sullivan from Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio, who comes in and does our cryptid report. But I have a really hard time, and I'm not saying he's right, I'm not saying he's wrong, okay, and I'm right or whatever it may be, but I can honestly tell you that I have a really hard time thinking that Bigfoot and Dogman and other cryptid creatures, but let's focus on Bigfoot and Dogman, are being covered up by the Smithsonian or government agencies. I just, for some reason, I just can't swallow that pill. Now, once again, I'm not saying Duke is wrong. I'm not a researcher. Duke is, okay? And many other people are. But I just have a tough time swallowing that pill. I am Pam.
Yes. No, I have a difficult time swallowing that pill as well too. I don't think the Smithsonian and I don't think the government knows. Well, see now, okay. So a few years ago, there was that famous track that came out about the military having knowledge of Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest or in California. And it was actually part of an Army training manual, if you remember that or not. That was interesting, to say the least, because what it was saying to troops is it was part of the natives' wilderness, the wildlife out there. And it listed Sasquatch nonchalantly that this was something that was out there. So is it possible that the government knows that these things are out there and it's not necessarily a cover-up, they're just simply not promoting it? There's a bit of a difference, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Like, for instance, I know in my area where there's a lot of logging, okay, I can understand why the loggers do not want Sasquatch to be proven.
Exactly.
Okay, because it cuts off their area. Any new species, and I got this from a government person, okay, any new species that is found, they will immediately shut down a very large section of that area because they need to figure out where does it live, what's its habitat, what is it feeding on, what's it drinking, where is the water source. They need to figure out absolutely everything to make sure that they find out more about the creature. How many more are there? Is it a creature that is on the list of extinction and maybe brought back? Okay, we've seen a number of animals over the last 10 years that we thought were extinct coming back and then finding small pockets of them, and I'm wondering if that's what it is. But I could see the business side of everything where the loggers, they don't want to shut down an area because that's millions of dollars.
Sure.
Okay. Mining is millions of dollars. Camping, tourism, fishing is millions of dollars.
That's right. That's right. So that's a great point. If Bigfoot was out there or Dogman was out there, that would close down national parks, right? Especially whenever we talk about things like Land Between the Lakes, where there was supposed to be, a killing by one of these creatures. That would immediately shut down the profits. But getting back to that, and nothing so violent or melodramatic, but, several decades ago, whenever the spotted owl controversy was out there, they had to stop logging because it was an endangered species that was taking up the area. And that's absolutely the case. If any of these cryptids are out there, I don't care if it's something minor, even if it's, like a dire wolf would show up someplace, immediately that area would have to be preserved until they figure out what's going on. And it's just a natural headache for these things whenever it happens. To stop, development of any kind, start expending money on research into that area, figuring out its habitat. You are talking about an upheaval with the way things are done. I agree with that.
We got the guru for another half an hour here on Spaced Out Radio. We love it when it's guru time. Ronald L. Murphy Jr. Type that into Amazon. You can pick up any of his books. Spaced Out Radio continues with the second half of the show right after this. Beauty, we're clear.
Right. I'm loving these people talking, man. I like this. I like to have an interactive audience.
Oh, yeah. Me too, man. Let's go here and let's see where we are with Santa Claus. 2 hours, 32 minutes till the big man starts to track down. All right, there it is. There's the official countdown. And I will tell you right now, I am on the air until he leaves.
Wow.
I'm on the air until he leaves. Hell yeah.
All right, my friend, I'm going to go get a drink for the last half hour, if that's okay.
You do that, my man. You do that.
Well, almost tripped to death.
Look at that. 2 hours, 32 minutes, 20 seconds. Freaking pumped. Freaking pumped. People are going to be screaming at me, Dave, what are you doing putting a NORAD website on your computer, man? Dude, they're already listening. They've already got it all. Hello, Lurks a lot. Guru time. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways if you haven't already. And if you're new, how about doing us a favor and hitting that subscribe button? Scowling Greg O'Brien. There he is. Hi, Chris. Teen, how you doing? Good to have you here. Vaughn Patrick, good to see you. Oh, where are we here? We got a couple minutes left. Bri J or Bree J? I never know. Merry Christmas to you. Gorgeous Larry Schulte. What's happening? Santa's faster than anything the Russians got. Remember, stealth technology is still new in Russia. It's 40 years old here. I am Pam. Guru, I got something here for you. I'm going to save this until we get back on the air. But I got something here for you.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I literally just found it. Thank you to the Ukrainian watermelon, little Ronnie Maniak. If you're in Saskatchewan or near Saskatchewan, just wave at him. He'll wave back. So flat there, he'll see you. All right, we got 1 minute here, Guru.
Penny Van just said she followed me on Facebook. That's good. I'm looking forward to talking to you about fairies.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go back here. 30 seconds, Guru. Big thank you to Thomas Fessler from Disclosure Tonight, Brian, Science Bob, and Surf Chair, great veteran, for your love and support of Spaced Out Radio and your super chats. Very much appreciated, everyone. We got 20 seconds left. Don't forget you can get your SOR swag at our website, spacedoutradio.com. Let's make it happen here. Let's have some fun. We got the Guru till the top of the hour. If he wants to stick around after, he's more than welcome. And we go from there. Here we go, everyone. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. And we want to say hello to everyone who's tuning us on in wherever you are for the Guru tonight. And let's get right to it. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Guru time continues. And you know what? We're going to start off with the topic of trolls tonight. I got one in the chat room right now. Merry Christmas to Space Czar, who says, "This show blows. I can't stand Dave. Sell out." Well, if you saw my bank account, you sure as hell would know I'm not a sellout. Merry Christmas to you. You know, just love it. Love it. Can't please everybody, but that's okay. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit subscribe on our channel if you don't mind. I'd appreciate that. Guru, we're talking some monsters and cryptids tonight and everything that kind of goes along in between. Here's one for you that, little Ronnie Moniak, a good friend of mine, we call him the Ukrainian watermelon around here. Today in creepy history. On Christmas Eve near Partridge Creek in the Yukon Territory of Northwest Canada, Father Pierre Lavenue, a Canadian missionary, and the 10 Indigenous men who are accompanying him encounter a terrifying and colossal creature. The great bipedal beast is roughly 50 feet long and estimated to weigh 40 tons. The hide is black and covered with bristles, much like a wild boar. It has small burning eyes, and growing from atop its snout, which is full of huge sharp teeth, is a single great horn. From its mouth dangles this lifeless carcass of a dead caribou. In effect, before the men stands a living dinosaur. The beast quickly crosses the river and disappears with its meal into the surrounding wilderness. Lavenue would report the encounter to a French traveler, Georges Dupuis, in a letter. Dupuis was the first to report the creature after seeing it in the same area of Partridge Creek 4 years prior in 1903. Dinosaurs, man. Do you think dinosaurs are still walking this planet?
I would hope so. The other animal that I would really hope is around here, and I thought you were going to go with that story, is the woolly mammoth, because they're reported every now and then in parts of not only Alaska, but in Canada as well, too. Look, the woolly mammoth had existed up until about 14,000 years ago. Now I will tell you this, and I forget where was that, Orango Island, I do believe. There's proof that they may have existed as early up until maybe only 3,000 years ago in little pockets. So I've always held out hope ever since I've been a kid that there's still a few of those guys roaming around, but that'd be a little difficult. Now, on the flip side of that, when we talk about dinosaurs, people report seeing giant birds, thunderbirds, and things like that to this very day. And that could be a misidentification of a pterodactyl or whatever. So there's a possibility that flying reptiles are still out there. So something from the age of the dinosaurs. And if you would press me, I would probably say that within our oceans are probably a few species of animals that were around at the same time as the dinosaurs as well too. But an actual dinosaur and not a reptile that was contemporaneous with the dinosaur. That is the really that's the point that I want to get to. I would love to see the dinosaur, a dinosaur, any place, even if it's like a velociraptor type, and that would make sense because they were already developing wings and they were already developing feathers. And people say that there are dinosaurs out there; they're just birds now; that they just evolved into birds. But you're talking about a dinosaur in its original form from 65 million years ago. Now, evolution would definitely take place. There will be some tinkering here and there, but I would like to think that there's something out there still roaming around that we know nothing about and that has existed out there for millions of years, because that really puts one to us as the human race, doesn't it? It shows us that we don't know everything that's out there.
Well, you know what? I want there to be dinosaurs. I still think somewhere in Russia there might be woolly mammoths.
I agree.
That's a big uncharted territory that not many Russian people live in. Okay, in that frozen tundra where the average temperature at this time of year is around minus 55 degrees Celsius. All right, and I can see there being woolly mammoths still there, much like I still believe the thylacine or the Tasmanian tiger is still roaming around Australia, because Australia has a big dead area right in the middle where there's not a lot of people living. And I think that's a creature that could easily still be there.
I agree.
But when it comes to the dinosaur aspect, we've heard about these miniature pterodactyls called the ropin that seem to be flying around in a triangle between, the border of Alaska and British Columbia down to Texas, Mexico, and then over towards the Philippines. We've heard of those. We've heard of these little miniature T-Rexes or Velociraptors that are running around the borders of Texas, Mexico, Louisiana, Arkansas, in that area that they have allegedly been spotted. We think of thunderbirds, where I don't know if I believe people who have seen them, but I don't know if they exist, because all I know is if the thunderbird ever had to let loose, it's painting a car, it's painting part of a forest, okay? And that's going to be very noticeable, let alone the fact that a 40-foot bird is going to show up on radar. And yet it never does.
Right.
So how do we believe this? And I want to put this theory to you and get your opinion. Do you believe that people are actually seeing dinosaurs? Or are they actually looking into a different dimension or a different timeline for a brief minute, seeing these creatures?
The first part, I think that people are seeing dinosaurs because they are wanting to see dinosaurs, and they come across something like a blue heron and they misidentify it or believe that it's a dinosaur because they want it to be, because I would want it to be as well too. And that's not disparaging them. That's just the way the mind works sometimes. So I think one part of it is misidentification, but the idea of a time slip or the idea of looking into a window into the past is something that's also very intriguing. And that's been brought up about the Loch Ness Monster as well too, that there's actually nothing in that lake. You are only looking back at a past image of what was in that lake. I think that's a great theory, and it's something that needs to be explored more as well too. Definitely about the Thunderbird, and I've talked to many people that were experiencers of Thunderbirds, and I believe them whenever they tell me that. But like you said, we would have so much evidence from a Thunderbird. We would have, like you said, they would have to poop someplace. It would break windshields. they're going to lose a feather someplace. They have to move around, they have to breed. So if these people are not lying, then what are they seeing? And it's very possible that they are looking into a time in our past whenever some sort of vortex or portal or wormhole or whatever you want to call it opens up, and they can see back into a time that's no longer there on our time frame, because time really doesn't exist. It's not linear in any way. We make it linear because that's the way the world likes to work. We like to go to bed at night and get up in the day, and we like to work 8-hour days. But time is really a man-made conception. Time in itself does not exist. And if we start moving back in our perspective more and more, we can see that sometimes it even overlaps. So there's no reason why, if there's not a hole or something allowing us to look into the past, that we can't see what's going on from then.
Very true. Very true. So are these hallucinations? Are they actual sightings of a time gone by?
Yeah, because we're not getting any proof, right? Again, I always go back to the person that is experiencing this. Most of these people are very lucid people. They're sober people. They're not making it up, and they have nothing really to gain from it at all. But we also don't have any evidence from these things. Nobody's getting a picture of them. They're not appearing on radar, like you said. So if that is what's going on, then how are they seeing these things? And the only thing that really makes sense besides misidentification is they're looking back into a time that simply does not exist in our time frame.
Do you think there is a possibility that there are certain dinosaurs, or what we would consider as dinosaurs, that are still around?
Well, that Macaulay Mbembe, right, in Africa, in the Congo, that's been something that's been looked at for nearly 100 years now, and it was believed to be some sort of a patasaur, some sort of sauropod. Now researchers are saying that this was all misidentified, that these native people that have lived there for millennia was misidentifying a hippo, something that was extremely well known. So of course these people have no idea what they're talking about. But whenever you talk with a native population and they depend upon the world around them for survival, I mean, they eat and they get their medicine out of the environment. Everything comes from the world around them. And they somehow misidentify a hippopotamus. That's not happening. So something is going on there. There are indigenous populations out there reporting things that look like pterosaurs or looks like a sauropod dinosaur of some kind. There are people out there reporting these things who know the world so extensively around them that you really cannot say that they are misidentifying anything. I would think that if there's a dinosaur around here, it's going to show up probably in an area, something like the Congo, somewhere in the Amazon, someplace like that, where there's a lot of hiding places and where a lot of people don't go into. And there's no reason why a rodent population couldn't be about their merry way for 65 million years. Like I said, though, they're going to evolve. They're going to adapt to their area around them. So they're not going to be a carbon copy of the way they were 65 million years ago. But I do believe wholeheartedly that there are animals on this earth we have not cataloged, and some of those indeed may be remnant populations of extinct eras.
The problem with that theory is the majority of people out there will say, well, those animals need to come from the water, or they're close to being microbial size or the size of tiny frogs. We seem to be finding a new species of frog every year, which is cool.
It is,
because we are finding species of frogs or of animals. Let's Google this. 2022 new animals discovered. All right, so let's see. A rainbow reef fish, a super snouted frog found this year, a long lost lizard, a curious crustacean, an odd owl. Okay. So let's go to Discover Magazine. Oh, that fish is gorgeous, by the way. Rainbow reef fish. Yeah, the super snouted frog. Long lost lizard. Curious crustacean, which looks like a hairy crab.
Nice.
An odd owl, which looks like a miniature owl. Like we're talking jelly without a telltale tentacle. Okay. a new species of sloth was found, but we're not talking about major giant creatures.
Right. And
Okay,
that's the
we're
problem.
talking,
Yeah, that's the
you know,
problem.
like we're not talking about a mastodon or even an a muskox or something along those lines. You know,
Yeah,
even in Africa. I mean, you mentioned Makili Mbembe. That would be very interesting
it
in
would.
the Congo.
It would. But we have to remember, though, several years ago, it didn't happen last year, of course, but every now and then they will find something. That pig that they found in Vietnam that was never cataloged by science before. And, back in the 1920s and 1930s, we were finding things like the okapi in Africa. So occasionally, larger animals will show up. But in order for them to be hidden for so long, they necessarily have to be elusive. So I think the reason why these larger animals aren't showing up is they're very good at hiding. But it would be great, like you said, if some sort of massive creature is discovered, and it's discovered on land as well too, because if there's massive creatures in the ocean, they're just waiting to be discovered. But I think that if we discover something like this in some sort of remote forest someplace, that will really allow us to open up our eyes to things that might also be lurking out there.
Could you put Bigfoot and Dogman in that category?
Oh, sure. Without a doubt. I mean, without exception. Even though my theory is that there's something from the fairy world, it's you also have to keep an open mind and say that these are, of course, flesh and blood animals as well too. That's just simply part of our environment, and we've created legends around them. But absolutely, now that would be the ultimate thing. That's something we talked about earlier as well too, is to find some sort of bipedal creature that is anthropomorphic, and it looks like us, and it's simply something that's that would be the holy grail in cryptozoology.
Right. You know what? Hopefully it is,
I
and
know.
maybe it is in those areas of the tundra of North America. Maybe it is in the areas of the northern part of Russia and going down right through the countries that end with Stan, that are very uninhabited in the mountains, like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, places like that, even Georgia, going right down into Mongolia and China.
Right, and there's reports that come out of there all the time. Well, not all the time, but recently, reports coming about people engaging giants in fights and things like that. Troops coming upon these giants in caves. That's interesting, but that's what would happen if these creatures are out there. Some sort of encroachment on their land, and the only reason why encroachment on their land would happen would be through some sort of warfare, some sort of conflict. Because, like you said, nobody wants to go into these areas anyways. These are remote areas. And this is where these kind of creatures would be. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to somebody to say, hey, we caught a giant. That would be great.
Yeah, I would too. We got about 6 minutes left with you, and we've tackled along, but we haven't really tackled the fairy realm. And I know this is one of your specialties. This is one of your areas where you love to talk about. For you, explain what the fairy realm is to people who may not understand.
Yeah, well, the fairy realm to me actually is something that I truly don't understand either, because the origin of the word itself really doesn't make any sense either. The world of the fairy world means the world of the fairy. It's very circular in the way we define it. But the fairy realm, of course, is part of our world, right? They exist within our world. They're not even really supernatural. They're ultra terrestrial, if anything. And this world that they inhabit can sometimes be seen to be inside of our world, but actually that's just a way of making sense of it. It's not so much inside of our world, but it's within our reality around us. Sometimes you can enter that through fairy rings, through meditation, through kidnapping, through eating some of their food. So there's different ways to get in there. But there has to be a conduit to allow you in there. So it's almost like you have to have a key to get into that world. And sometimes that key is freely given to you, and sometimes you just wander and stumble upon their world. But their world is really part of this world around us. And when we talk about things like magic and everything, I think that happens whenever we encounter these worlds and nothing about the physics within those worlds make any sense to us. And that's where magic is spawned from, because it's our mind trying to wrap itself around what's going on.
Very true. And with these fairies, I mean, you link Bigfoot into the fairies. You link a lot of these cryptid creatures into the fairy realm. Why do you do that? Oh, I think the guru, his connection froze up there. We will try and get him back here momentarily. But it is interesting, the idea that many people out there do believe that the fairy realm is a big part of everything that happens. Is there some underground inner earth type of countryside or hollow earth where a lot of these strange creatures tend to listen and live? And then they come up to our world, maybe for food, or maybe to engage into more of the oxygen and the lifestyle. Water, maybe? No, they'd have water underneath. I mean, it's very interesting to see how that would play out. Very interesting. And I'm not sure if I buy the inner earth theory. I do believe in things that I've seen personally, that these creatures are probably out there. They probably live in caves and maybe tunnels. Could you consider the tunnels inner earth? I don't really know. They're definitely inside the earth, getting away or staying warm. But are they actually, much like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, where he goes into the chocolate area, are they actually, having an inner earth such as that, where there's trees growing, where they have their own environment, water, fish, you name it. Much like if you were wandering in your own forest outside your home. I don't know. I really don't know. It's one of those very interesting things that we just need to try and figure out. Who knows? Who knows? I'm not sure if we're going to have the guru back, because he has his system has been disconnected, and we got less than 2 minutes before we need to go to break here at the top of the hour. But if he does come back, we will get him back on. But what a time of year! What a time of year where we get to get ready. And everybody should be getting pumped up for the World Junior Hockey Championships as well. Go Team Canada. Let's make this happen. Team USA, I think, will beat them. This is my prediction. As much as I hate to say it, I think Team USA wins the gold, Canada silver. That's my prediction. But you never know. You never know. We got a minute to go here. I want to remind all of you that we are putting together, if you haven't heard already, a great trip for our fans, the second annual Spaced Out Radio fan party at the Golden Nugget Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, May 19th through 21st. Tickets are $60 or $100 if you want to be a VIP and hang out with us. We're going to have a number of great people that you have heard on this show, like the Crypto Guru tonight, Brian Bowden, Science Bob, Jim Goodall, Michael Schratt, two of the best aviation historians going today. Ufologists such as Grant Cameron, Lorian Fenton, Melinda Leslie are going to be there. We're going to do sky watches. We're going to have little Timmy Senor, a resident Timbit, is going to be there. Our entire Spaced Out Radio team is going to be there. And we want as many of you as possible. Now, we do have an event page on Facebook, so type in Spaced Out Radio or SOR Vegas 2023. Type it all in. You can get it there and join on in. Say, hey, yeah, I'm coming. We want to see you all there. We would like at least 100 people. At least 100 people to come hang out with us. Last year we had 62. This year, let's push it to 100. starts with you. You need a vacation. Come hang out with us. Swamp Dweller is next to kick off hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. Something must have happened to Guru's computer. I don't know where he went. I'm going to message him. Where are you, Guru? All right. I'm going to take a little break here. Little Stewie Senor is getting ready for the show. He's got his favorite plaid shirt on. I'll be right back, guys. Hi, Jurassic Joey. How you doing? Called the Guru. His modem crashed, so he ain't going to be back. By the way, we are, let's see here. We are 1 hour and 56 minutes away from launching Santa Claus. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's put this back on just for little Timmy Senor. I'm very excited about it. Very excited about it. We got 1 minute to go here on Spaced Out Radio. Probably going to have to turn my headphones up so I can actually hear what's going on. Let's see if we can. Does that undo? No, these ones are sewn in. These ones are sewn in. Usually they have buttons up there. All right. Big thank you tonight to Thomas Fessler, Brian Bowden, Science Bob, and Surf Jer for the super chats tonight. Very much appreciate the love and support, everyone. And thank you to everyone who has hit the thumbs up or thumbs down. And yeah, we've had a great time here tonight. We want to see you all in Las Vegas. What size hat do I wear? I got a big head. I wear a size 8. And yeah, hour 3 coming up here momentarily. Timbit, it's a 5-minute swamp dweller. 5-minute swamp dweller. Well, of course he was. Here we go, everyone.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Here we go with the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Panini. Panini is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is time once again where we head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller takes us on a spooky journey.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. By Sonora. A few summers ago, I ended up working in a small garden outside my work since our workload slowed down in the summer. I worked at a factory surrounded by olive trees and other trees like apricot, peach, cherry, pear, and apple. Beyond the tree line, on one of the short ends of the small rectangular garden, there were a bunch of tall, thick weeds and shrubbery directly after the front of the tree line. On the garden fence itself at the end, thick, tangled grapevines had overgrown the wall of the garden and the chain-link perimeter fence of the property in that area. It was a scorching day, as it was July. The hummingbirds buzzed near the feeders, and the other birds sang their summer songs. I greeted our factory dog, Buddy, lazing outside the garden in the shade of an olive tree. He gazed at me with his neon-like blue eyes and wagged his black and white fluffy tail before dozing off again. I continued to chat with my buddy as I worked, just off in my safe little world. As I worked, I vaguely noticed the sounds of bushes and shrubbery rustling slightly, which I blew off as a breeze. But after a few minutes more, I realized that the rustling sounds were pretty constant, and after briefly glancing around many of the trees, I noticed that there didn't appear to be a breeze on that hot July day. So at that point, it was probably Buddy sniffing around the bushes. But that thought went out the window when I turned back towards the garden entrance for a shovel, and there was Buddy, still lazing in the same exact place I had left him. Now, if you know dogs, you know that Buddy should have been losing his crap right about then. Yet he was resting there with no care in the world. I decided to give it a couple of more minutes to make sure. It could have been my husband, who also worked at the factory with me, or my boss or another coworker, for all I knew. But as I casually paid attention to what I was hearing, I could tell that the movements were slow and deliberate. Whoever or whatever was in the grapevines and bushes was moving precisely. My heart began to race as I imagined a bear or a mountain lion stalking me. So I snuck out of the garden entrance and stepped over a couple of feet to investigate. Seeing through the thick shrubbery beyond the olive and cherry trees was difficult. I had to focus, like when you try to see one of those hidden 3D images. Once I did, though, I started to see movement beyond the grapevines, bushes, and weeds. After a few seconds, I began to make out the shape of human legs. Whoever was there wore a pair of medium faded blue jeans and looked like some sort of black hiking or work boots. All I could think of at the time was, holy crap, it's a person. They were moving away from me towards the railroad tracks beyond the chain link perimeter fence. All I could think to do at that point was walk around the perimeter of the fence and up to the railroad tracks to see if I could get a better vantage point and see the person. I knew the person would be trapped by the perimeter fence hidden by the grapevines. Once I got up there, I saw a man crouched next to the chain link fence, staring right at me. It was strange to me because he wore the medium colored blue jeans and heavy black boots I mentioned earlier. Still, he also sported a black beanie, a dark hooded sweatshirt, and a backpack, all despite it being 100+ degrees outside that day. As he stared at me with those dark, beady, close-set eyes, I asked him, "Who are you, and why are you here?" But he just stared at me, unblinking with a pale face, and didn't say a word to me. He just sat there, frozen and unmoving. Looking back, I don't think he blinked or moved at all. So I gave up after a few seconds and went into the factory to tell someone. I found my husband first, but he pretty much just dismissed it. So I went to my boss next. We both went back to the garden to investigate, but no one was there anymore. Just Buddy, casually wandering into the bushes towards the tracks. Being a dog, Buddy should have been more alarmed, yet he wasn't, which was weird to my boss. Just then, though, my coworker arrived with his dog, who was promptly sent to investigate the area. Meanwhile, the other coworker went inside the factory to get the forklift, which he drove outside to us. Then, we had my husband lift the forklift as high as we could so my coworker could stand at a vantage point and get a good look for the guy, or maybe a car leaving or something. But I don't think he ever actually saw anything. Once we got back into the factory and inside the boss's air-conditioned office, the boss had something interesting to tell us about the night before. First off, he informed us that we all had no running water in the whole industrial park. However, the exciting part came when he explained why there was no water. The night before, a couple of guys tried stealing a big rig or something from one of the businesses located up past us in the park. When they tried to escape the truck after nearly getting caught, they tried to jump across a small creek where the water main coming into the industrial park happened to be. They, of course, didn't make it and ended up smashing the water main to all the businesses in the park. I would have to determine if the intruder amongst the grapevines was related to that incident. We called the sheriff just in case, and they came out and took a report and got a description of the intruder from me. But of course, none of the outside security cameras caught it since it was behind the tree line and amongst the heavy shrubbery. But I guess we'll never know.
And that's why we love the Swamp Dweller around here, always taking us on a spooky journey around the world. Yes, Swamp Dweller joins us every Monday through Friday night here on Spaced Out Radio as we get together to bring in the spookiness from the swamp. Hey, if you want more, he's got thousands of stories just like that. All you got to do is go to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads, and hit subscribe on his channel today. From the swamp to the stars, it's time for the UFO report. Our resident Timbit, little Timmy Senor, returns.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
Yeah, little Timmy Senor joins us once again for the UFO report as he gets down and dirty with the news that is going on around the world when it comes to everything that is flying around our friendly skies. And Tim, it's always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. I hope you've been doing well.
Thank you so much for asking. It's been a little bit crazy weather-wise here in Oregon. Believe it or not, we've had almost 2 to 3 inches of solid ice laid down everywhere. So I live on a hill at the bottom of a hill, so you can probably imagine the excitement that I've been party to. Not one, but 2 vehicles smashed into my brand new truck. So it's been a fun day.
That I'll tell you, I was planning on going home to my parents' house for Christmas. I've been talking about this quite a bit because, my mom has been ill over the last few months, and, I don't know if this will be her last Christmas or not. And we're having to delay. We've had to delay because the route that we have to take down to that area where my parents are, right now is all under avalanche alert.
Whoa.
And not only avalanche alert, but freezing rain along the highways. And when you're going through the mountains up and down, you don't want freezing rain.
No.
You don't. You know what? I'll drive on snow. Driving on snow is simple. If you have good tires, okay, driving on snow is very, very simple. But freezing rain, I mean, that's a death knell of driving right there.
Yeah.
And so
my buddy lives at the top of the hill, so I have the video, which is so hard to watch. Multiple videos, believe it or not, because they were up at the top of the hill just chilling, watching stuff happen, unbeknownst to me. But I got the video later of just this thing going sideways, just right into the nose of my car, parked, by the way, in my driveway. It's just craziness. And so not once but twice. And here's the thing, it did more damage to their vehicles than mine. And each time, I don't know if they knew people were out filming them. Maybe they did, but both times the people came and knocked on my door and shared their insurance information. So I'm just like, how is my insurance company or their insurance, or like, how do you even, I don't even know where to start. I'm going to worry about it come New Year.
Hey, at least they had the humanity to come to your door and say sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention, of course, I've got a million friggin' cameras on my front yard, so I saw it. I was getting alerts on my phone. I'm like, oh, it's
again.
I'm
sorry.
And I have nowhere else to park right now, too. So, and they're really strict in the townhomes that I live in. So, nightmare. So I have to park there. It's just.
I hear you.
Anyway,
I hear you.
I really don't care.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. So whatever.
Well, either way, dealing with any insurance is a terrible
hurt,
time.
So
that's the main thing.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. And I love watching these videos where you get people, they go absolutely haywire because somebody accidentally, picked them up and got them into a car accident. Why? Unless the guy's being a real doofus, an accident is an accident.
Yeah.
The only time I have been upset with an accident, this going back about, I was working in terrestrial radio. So this will be about 2005, 2006. I'm coming home from downtown Vancouver, and I'm stuck in the fast lane. Okay, and the fast lane's crawling at like less than 5 miles an hour. Okay. And I got the HOV lane right beside me. And all of a sudden, right in front of me, there is a car accident. Okay, a rear ender. And so I have a choice. I can either drive into these vehicles, or I did the smart thing. I swerved into the HOV. But I'm a single occupant in there. I know I'm in there illegally. I can't move back in. So here I am going to the HOV, I got my signal on. I'm trying to get back into my lane. And about 50 cars later, who's the one stalling traffic? And a Royal Canadian Mounted Police highway patrol officer who's watching the HOV lane. Everything ahead of him is wide open.
It's always the
So
way.
he sees me pass. He pulls me
He's all,
over
yay.
for driving illegally into the HOV lane. And I tried to explain to him what happened, but he's giving one of these sarcastic, yeah, whatever, buddy, you got caught. Stop
Yeah.
making excuses. And I was just like, I said, look behind you. There's an accident there. You know, wouldn't have anything, wouldn't even turn to look. And I'm like, you caused this. You caused this. $180 fine I had to pay. $180 fine.
It's unbelievable. It was a setup. The whole thing was a fix.
Whole thing was a setup. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Now, if, looking back on it, I wish I would have got the people from that accident. Okay. Because then we would have had a case.
Right.
But you're not, look, nobody even used cell phones for cameras back then. We're talking the little Nokias that were about this big at that point. Right. So just pain in the butt. There was a little bit of breaking news today regarding the NDAA report where it got signed into motion, but there was some concerns that President Biden had regarding some wording. People are trying to figure out what that's all about, and many in the UFO community are wondering if it has to do with whistleblowers and the United States government. Do you think the two are tied together, Tim?
I do. It could be partially that. It could be also some of the dates, some of the monetary commitments, and some of the information and how it's planned to be disseminated. I think there could be multiple avenues that he's not super happy about. But definitely, that the whistleblower in particular poses some potential problems, but it was signed and passed, so it may have been, not his favorite piece of legislation, but it's happening.
Well, you know what? I was talking to Bob McGuire about this a couple weeks ago, and he called me up and he goes, Dave, I hate to tell you this, but you are right. I said, what am I right about? And he goes, from what I'm hearing on the inside, the Democrats and the government officials balked on the budget and for the report. He goes, everything was supposed to go towards the whistleblowers. Everything was supposed to lead towards some sort of disclosure movement. And from what I'm hearing now, I'm quoting Bob McGuire. Okay. He says, from what I'm hearing from the inside now, he goes, the Navy and the military played the government for fools, and the government blinked first. And the military won. And that's why we're not getting anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Bob has nailed it right there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sad, though, my friend. It's sad because this could have been a very good thing. And if the majority of the American public understood what just happened, man, if this happened with healthcare, if it happened with gun control in the U.S., if it happened with taxes or finances or anything, the American people would be up in arms. They would be up in arms over this. But because it's UFOs, it slides right under the table because the mainstream media not covering it. And you would think with UFOs being in the budget, you might want to do some journalism there and actually take a look at what it actually means. But nothing.
Yeah. Sign of the times. But, I'm not surprised.
Why not?
Why am I not surprised? Oh, because I knew that this is not a topic that they wanted to discuss. And the fact that, like we were talking about just last night, they're not going to let this cinch out of their control. This is a topic, just like all the other information that goes on in, that level with our security and our national security. they don't want to appear like they are not in control of this topic or any topic. So come on, this is playbook stuff. And this is why your audience is always yelling at me, Tim, this has happened a million times over. Don't be so excited about anything that happens. You're going to see a repeat of the same history. And they're right. And you're right. And so, I'm taking a spoonful of the medicine I'm being offered here. So it doesn't surprise me. That's why.
I don't want to be right, though, Tim. I don't want to be right. I want this to go through the way it should, where people such as you, such as me, and our great audience members, they get the opportunity to see something good coming of this.
Right.
And instead we're playing games.
And let me just break in here and say how important that shows like this and the media not letting go of this topic. It's so important because there really aren't a lot of really steadfast people that are not shifting on this and are going to keep pushing this topic forward. Just like we were talking about, we need some public oversight, something that has a little more push up, up on the hill, if that's where we want this topic pushed. Now, at some point, they're hoping that we're going to give up on this project, trying to get this legislation passed and things like whistleblowers and maybe get some information on the past 75 years. They're hoping that the topic is going to wait us out, right, as the public, and that they're just going to be able to spill it on their own terms, which is really giving us nothing. And I think the fact that the Navy sealed things up really has determined the fact that we're not going to get any more information. I mean, what paper could they possibly come forward with? What report could they possibly provide when there is no official information coming from our military? I mean, they're not accepting whistleblower statements. They're not accepting just third-party information. They're not taking aviator statements. They're not allowing our own pilots even just to have their statements be valid in front of Congress. So now that they've sealed up every official line of information, it's getting tricky. It's getting very tricky.
And you know what? I want to state this for a second. If we really had a strong media presence within the UFO community, this is prime time for MUFON, for the SCU, the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies, for the Galileo Project, to stand up and air their grievances against what we are seeing happening. Except these UFO groups do nothing. You know why? They're more concerned, Tim, about not being part of the UFO community than they are about actually getting the news out there. Okay? If I was the PR person for the SCU, which I could be because I actually, unlike that person, have actually worked in the media, I would be having my team and my board of directors sign off on a press release that I would release to all media outlets airing what we do not like about this report. Put in the good parts, but put in the points of concern. That is how you build the media, and you're going to get interviews about it. You're going to get calls from the newspapers. You're going to get calls from television shows. You're going to get calls from podcasts and YouTube channels. But if we want to start banding together and getting this out, those who are way too sciencey for what we are doing, okay, better shape up or ship out, because they continue to drop the ball. And I'm disappointed in the fact that none of them have stood up today and said a damn thing about the budget, about what's wrong with it, about their concerns, and why we need them to start moving this ball forward. If they weren't so tied in, like Galileo Project members, we may have an opportunity. Let's get more into this when we return on Spaced Out Radio. The UFO report with our resident Timbit, little Timmy Senor, is here. Do you think that UFO groups with scientists should be saying a little bit more right now? Let us know at Spaced Out Radio. It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable, Tim, that these groups who claim to have disclosure at their best interest do nothing. You know, and I laugh. Sorry, it's hard on my ears. And I laugh because there are only a few of us in this field. Myself, Bryce Zabel, Ross Coulthart, okay, and a few others. Daniel Otis, another one, who can actually say we are real journalists covering this subject. And all these fake people out there who claim to be journalists, who claim to know what journalism is, calling themselves investigative journalists, do sweet nothing about asking the questions. They get all the jobs in the world, okay? They get speaking engagements, and they get treated like they are an authority in this field. And nobody is going to get the SCU on board. Okay, they infiltrate these groups. Yeah, I'm a journalist. I can do your PR. Really? I would actually like a true journalist to do my PR, not someone who just bought the title off of Google or made it up. All right? But this is seriously what's going on, Tim.
Right. And I also feel like potentially a lot of those sources are polarized one way or another. So, for example, a podcast likes somebody or somebody in the media or a representative, and so they may push that narrative or just, cover them intensely, where there's a whole nother side to the story. And, I understand what you're saying. It's really hard to get true journalistic integrity on the topic because somebody is always seeming like they're pulling the strings. And that even comes from the government. We're not getting all the information because of how the original source material is classified at the source.
Well, but I understand that. But much like, okay, up here in Canada, we have the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. They are a watchdog for every government tax that comes out provincially or comes out federally. They tell us the good about it. They tell us the bad about it. They submit their press release to the media outlets across Canada, and the media outlets will usually use them and interview them on the latest budgets or whatever it may be. Okay. The SCU and MUFON, because Galileo to me is a waste of time now. It's too infiltrated. Okay.
You got yourself convinced of this. Where's your evidence?
Let's go through the list on who.
No. I'm just let's move on. I'm fine with your answer because I already know why you feel this way.
Yeah. Okay. But here's what I'm saying. The SCU has a press person who's never worked in media. All right.
Right.
That's like, Tim, that's like you owning a restaurant and looking for a top-notch chef and giving the job to somebody who's flipped a couple of burgers on his own barbecue before. Hey, I'm a chef. I got a ton of experience flipping burgers on my barbecue. Give me the job. Well, can you make a filet mignon? No, but I know how to flame broil a burger. Okay. Same thing. And you would think that these groups, in order to get press, in order to get their name out there and to establish their own background and to establish their own reputation, would be watchdogging the hell out of this thing and putting out a press release that says, we support this, we don't support this, we like it, but we have some concerns here, here, and here.
When we come back, I've got a great question leading
All right.
off that.
We're going to be back in 20 seconds here.
Yeah.
Thank you to our super chatters tonight. A great veteran, Surf Chair, Science Bomb, Brian Bowden, Thomas Fessler from Disclosure tonight. Thank you so much for the love. We're going to kick off the final half hour of the radio show here in about 5 seconds. Here we go. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bubblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. All right, here we go. We continue with the UFO report after the president, Joe Biden, signed off on the budget, which means that there are UFO studies coming. And what's it going to be about? Well, nobody really knows because it seems to be all behind closed doors. And right before the break, we were talking about who is speaking for the people, the public, regarding this. There are a number of UFO groups out there that literally want to be at the top of their game when it comes to UFOs. And they want to be in the forefront of it all. And yet when they get their opportunity, like with this budget and what it means to the UFO community, dead silence. Tim Senor, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Your opinion on everything, man.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
Well, I love that you're thinking this way. My question is kind of, with these independent companies, you're absolutely right that we need them to be on the forefront, representing the public with this question and getting the truth. Do you feel that potentially, even with the Galileo project, the reason that they're not saying anything is because they're polarized in one way or another, or they're financed in one way or another? And so does that mean that we're still seeking perhaps a true independent group that can represent us? And how can that possibly be done in your eyes? Can you do both?
I think in my opinion, the SCU, the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies, to me, has some of the most brilliant minds on there that are literally lost in the shuffle of what they are actually supposed to do. Now, they come out and they say, we want to study the nuts and bolts. Well, guess what? You can't study the nuts and bolts out of videos. You need a crash retrieval. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. To me, if I had any pull with the Scientific Coalition of UAP Studies and all of those and access to all of those brilliant minds from scientists around the world who have an intrigue in UFOs, I think that what we need is to have them become more of a watchdog group. And what I mean by that is we need them, Tim, when a budget like this comes out and UFOs are involved, We need them to break it down for us, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what they like, what they don't like, what they have concerns about. And if they are willing to do that for the sake of the public and themselves, imagine how much further ahead we are going to be. Okay? What's the old saying when it comes to politics? It is, if you pressure the politicians enough, eventually you get what you want. Now, a lot of people will say politics has changed since, that, and we're not talking about the freshness of apples at the local grocery store here. Okay? But we have to start somewhere. And the UFO community needs a watchdog group. We were hoping it would be MUFON, but MUFON wants to play the government game. We were hoping it was going to be the Galileo Project until they started getting government spooks involved in their project. We were hoping it could be the SCU, but for some reason the SCU doesn't like publicity. Or their PR person, who's never been involved in media in his life, okay, literally doesn't know what he's doing for his job. And because the SCU doesn't understand media, they don't call it out.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things.
And you bring up a super point here that it needs to be a group, like a watchdog group, and not an individual, right? Because an individual is potentially corrupted. So you're absolutely right on that. And it's glaringly obvious that we don't have that happening because this topic is getting walked on.
Absolutely. I mean, could you imagine if there was a coalition of researchers from yesteryear, like Richard Dolan, Grant Cameron, all of the oldie but goodies, and a group of new people, a lot of these younger UFO researchers who understand social media more, who came together independently, okay, to form a watchdog group to call out to the news, to the media outlets, what needs to be happening here. Why is the UFO community concerned? Eventually, after enough press releases, somebody is going to bite. And it's very easy to develop a media group because you know what? All you do is go on the major networks website and grab their every news outlet on there on the internet has an email. Do you have a story for us? editor@soandso.com. Email us at editor@soandso.com. And then eventually what you're going to do is you're going to get journalists coming up to you and say, hey, can you add me to your email list? And I guarantee you within 1 year, you would have a strong watchdog group of independent not enthusiasts, but researchers, of independent researchers, whether they have a scientific background or they have a citizen science background, or they're journalists, or they are experiencers coming together for the sake of everything. It would work. Guaranteed it would work.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And to keep it flexible, and you're completely right. And it's really just about putting it together. And it has to be that credible group, You're absolutely right. And it actually kind of brings me into my lead story for tonight, if you want to talk about a brand new group.
Let's do it.
Okay.
What do you got for us?
General Aviation News is bringing us our top story about general aviation pilots being encouraged to report to a new UFO system. And so Enigma Labs, a global platform for UFO sightings, is now accepting submissions from members of the aviation community, including general aviation pilots, flight instructors, students, military aviators, and others. And so according to officials, with Enigma Labs. The private technology company is building an empirical and reliable network of UFO sightings to support aviators and researchers. And this will involve their investigative efforts in aviation safety being in the past hindered by a lack of coordination and access to quality information. And so now the reports are being submitted to the lab's website, and you can submit a report using a pseudonym if you feel more comfortable. So the new lab's officials note that they'll never pass on their private information, but people are encouraged to start reporting to this. And in fact, we're starting to get some pretty massive information coming in on that, including this new information that was just dumped on the 19th of December. So it looks like this company is kind of almost preparing for some of the requests that are being made by some of the new legislation. And the reason I say that is because this new release from Enigma Labs on their website, they're releasing a pretty in-depth summary of the history of a UFO, or they're calling it UAP, and the nuclear connection. And so the labs have released this in-depth summary of the history, and they've started highlighting it as emerging in the 1940s, specifically 1945, and their research digs in immediately at 1945 July, the Trinity test site in Suraco, New Mexico. So this new analysis coming from their website goes in depth for pages and pages of data and analysis. And I wanted to kind of point this out, coinciding with the new legislation we're seeing. I think that this lab is preparing to come up with some answers. And if you want to go check it out, you might agree. Dave, your thoughts?
Well, I know the Enigma group has, I don't know the name of the person, but they have deep, deep pockets. Like they found their next Robert Bigelow in putting this together. I caution anybody who submits a report here, because it seems like they are trying to do what MUFON is doing, but they're going to have a lot better results. I don't know where their reports are going. I do know that their media person is the same one who claims to be a journalist for the SCU, who is now part of the Enigma. So that immediately tells me they're not doing their homework on people who have resumes. Okay, that says a lot about a company to me. All right, and trust me, I'm not picking on this individual. Okay, I'm not trying to pick on him. I'm not jealous that he got the position and I didn't, because hey, I don't have time for it anyways. Okay, but what I am saying is this: in order to do the job properly, you have to hire the right people. You don't hire the right people who lie on their resume. That says a lot. That says a lot about what's going on. And by the way, that person, I'm not going to mention his name, but he did chicken out on coming on our show because he knew I was going to question him on it. Right?
Yeah.
So that's my opinion of it. That's my opinion.
Indeed.
Now, money buys a lot of things. And when you have deep pockets like the Enigma Lab, and trust me, this group, pun intended, is an enigma right now. We don't know who they're getting involved with. We don't know if they're part of some sort of government agency. We don't know what they're doing, but it looks like that they want to take on MUFON regarding their way of gathering information from people who have encounters with unidentified flying objects, and so on and so forth. So do we need another one? Yeah. Should MUFON be scared? Probably. Okay. But you can't trust a company that hires a fake journalist to be their PR person. It says a lot.
It does.
It really does.
We need more PR people in this field.
You know, honestly, we should put a challenge out there I think it would take about 6 months to set up to be a UFO watchdog group. We should.
Doable.
We should.
I mean, doable.
It is.
You know all the people on the
doable.
list you mentioned.
And the thing we could guarantee is this. The people that we bring on, if I was running this, and let's say we did do this, Tim, if I was running this watchdog group, I would have to make sure that everybody submits a resume. And everybody has to go through an interview process to find out whether or not they are affiliated with any government association. And the minute they are, we can't use you. We cannot use you.
Would you be okay with Enigma Labs being a resource for Congress? And
here's the problem. We don't know anything about Enigma Labs. Okay? We don't. Once we know what they're about, they can sit here and blow sunshine up our UFO butts all day long. But we don't know anything about them. Where are they reporting? You know, I'm looking at their website here. There's no names. There's no names of who's affiliated with them, who's backing them. Nothing. They want you to join their community. What for? Now, they are hiring people for Chief Information Security Officer, Community Manager, Consumer Mobile Product Manager, Data Engineer, DevOps, MLOps, Technical Program Manager, Web Developer, and it's all out of New York, which is great. Okay? It's fantastic. But when you go to their About Us page, it's a
cool page, by the way.
It looks
beautiful.
Oh, it is beautiful, but who cares about that? you get 2 sentences. Our mission, that's the title, our mission. Our approach is to advance progress on UAP using cutting-edge technology and social intelligence. Only through thoughtful, open-minded study of unidentified phenomena can we get answers. We are focused on building and keeping our team low profile for privacy. Would you trust that group?
That is highly sus.
Then they go on and say we are 01 neutral. UAP goes beyond politics. Our company is nonpartisan and open to working with everyone. We are neutral on the origins of the phenomena. Premature assumptions and local fallacies can lead to the wrong conclusion. We are a neutral aggregator and aim to empower those studying the phenomena with historical context, real-time alerts, and analytic tools. We are open-minded and will follow the science wherever it leads. 2, global. UAP have appeared across the planet for over, which is a spelling mistake, a century in various forms. The cross-border nature of sightings requires a global framework. We aim to find answers through investigation and conversation that examines the phenomena from the perspective of all nations, languages, and culture. 3, professional. There are individuals who have dedicated their lives to researching UAP. We are indebted to them and stand on their shoulders. Yet UAP remains a mystery. That is why Enigma adopted a fresh approach, taking advantage of modern tools, business models, and skill sets in order to attract the brightest minds and build for the long term we formed as a private company. We take the mission seriously and embrace complexity. We are a team of full-time, diverse professionals from many backgrounds: data science, machine learning, aerospace, citizen science, consumer product design, particle physics, sailing, visual arts, finance, journalism, or in this case, fake journalism, military service, and public policy, to name a few. We are grateful to everyone who has supported us so far. So here we have a group who is privately funded, is not coming out with whom they are associated with, has no names of their board of directors, has no names to their affiliation because they want to affiliate with everybody. are promising that they are going to keep your reports quiet, much like Robert Bigelow did. And we know they've hired a fake journalist for their PR. Where does that say confidence in the public mind anywhere? It doesn't. And if anybody from Enigma is actually listening to this, I'm telling you, you're going about it the entire wrong way. Entire wrong way. You may have a belief, but you know what? This community that we represent is stronger, Tim. We are stronger because we have seen this for decades. We have seen these groups come in, try and kiss our asses for the information.
Yeah, no, that's great. You bring up a great point. And really, it takes community members to formulate something like this. I completely understand your skepticism moving forward with any new group, especially when it's collecting private information like this.
I would be wrong to ask our audience to submit anything to Enigma just off of what we told you, just off what we read on their website.
It's the whole reason I covered it. And the fact is it's just one more reporting agency claiming to be able to divert the aviators report, or who knows what, is going to happen. They say that you can use a pseudonym, a fake name.
And let me say this.
Go ahead.
Where has science got us in the UAP field so far? Where's it got us?
More questions.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
It's got us nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay? All that science has done in the UFO field has brought us is controversy. That's it.
Would you report to MUFON?
No.
Where would you report?
No,
if you were to report?
I never would.
Okay.
I don't encourage anybody to report. I really don't.
Why?
Why?
Because of just database and personal information.
Because what are you doing with my information? Okay? And every major group out there outside of Peter Davenport's New Fork seems to end up in the government hands. Tim, we got to end it right there. Thank you so much for coming on in. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background. Little brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home.
I know you're out there somewhere watching me.
Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Tim, are you going to stick around for a bit?
Just for one question that I had for you, but yeah, did you need to go do something?
No, I was going to hang out here with the listeners, and
Cool.
I think it's very, very, I want to get their opinion here. I want to get their opinion on what we read about the Enigma Labs today,
Mm-hmm.
what we read off their website, so we're not making this stuff up. Would you submit your UFO report to this group, not knowing who's on their board, not knowing where the information is going, not knowing what they are going to do with it, except one promise that they're not going to shop it? Okay. Would you do that? Is there anything that we read off their website, and you could check it on yourself by going to enigmalabs.io? You could check it out yourself. Would you trust your information going there? Or does it seem sketchy? And look at the comments. No, from Crave Dog. Let's look here. I'll post them. Nope, from Simon in Australia. Joe, I don't want to have anything to do with Enigma Labs. No, from Von Patrick. Pixie Lara, who's a scientist, by the way. No, I would not. Crave Dog again, sketchy. Thurston, hopefully no one does.
And would the same people report to MUFON though, or are these just not reporters? You know what I mean? Like, or would you report anywhere? I don't care if it's MUFON. Would you report, but definitely not here? Is that kind of like what we're looking at?
I don't know. I don't encourage anybody to report anywhere.
Right, and so
I really don't.
And why is that exactly?
Because there is nobody out there that I would put my name behind, okay, to say to my listeners or the Spaced Out Radio listeners,
trust this organization.
You can give your information to these people and it's going to be treated properly.
Fair. Okay. I get it. Do you like having MUFON as a resource to be able to look up events? Like if you had a UFO event,
I like the people.
But I mean, do you like it as a resource to look up UFO events that are taking place?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay. I don't think we can trust any of them. This is why we need to.
There are videos and stuff there, though.
Look, if I had the money to do it, okay, and isn't that the famous saying for all of us? If we had the money to do it, okay. But if I had the money to do it, okay, I would seriously, over the next 3-4 months, I would establish a nonprofit watchdog group to be looking over absolutely everything. If MUFON gives a report, if SCU gives a report, if the government gives a report, if Enigma Labs gives a report, if Ryan Graves' company gives a report, to go over these as a watchdog for the community. Because everybody forgets, everybody wants the tech. Okay? Everybody wants the accolades. But you know what? Who's watching out for the community? Who's watching out? I'm just going to name some names here. Who's watching out for Ozzy Sue or YJ Overlander or Gyro or Search and Destroy or Love v. Love or Joe Monk or Frost Kitten?
Yeah.
Who's watching out for them? Nobody. There's not a single bloody group out there that is watching out for the people in this subject. And like I said, I stand behind my words, dude, that science has given us nothing but more than a headache regarding this subject the last 5 years. Everybody wants to be, I'm Mr. Nuts and Bolts.
And you
I'm
came
Mr.
up
Tough
with
Guy.
a great solution to the problem that you're expressing right now. So you're not just complaining about a problem, you've actually solved the gap. Like and profess that putting together a watchdog group would really mend this, because not only would they be making sure that this is being covered properly up on the hill, but also that we would be getting information on our side. It's really perfect. And I would love to see something move on that somehow. You're absolutely right.
Now, Paradigm Research Group with Steve Bassett was supposed to be that group.
Right.
Okay, the problem is Bassett fell in love with the Democrats, hated the Republicans, Okay.
Hmm.
And as a lobbyist, he showed his true colors, that he's only a lobbyist to try and get the Democrats in there. Well, guess what? Doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, you're a libertarian, or a Republican, UFOs don't pick political parties.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, it's been a bipartisan agreement, though, in this country. Everyone has been wanting more information.
Absolutely. Right. But because Steve Bassett, and God bless him, I love the guy, okay? Because he has made this political where, 7 years later after Hillary got trounced, he's still whining about Trump winning. Who cares? It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
Okay, he's gone. Who cares? Get over it. Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Dry Toast, for that awesome super chat, man. Very much.
Oh.
By the way, Dry Toast, best name on YouTube. Best name on YouTube right there.
Yeah. Everything goes better with dry toast. Elephant in the Room, the Took brothers here, you and I, the thing looks so much better on you. I'm obviously it looks so
you
good
look
on
pretty,
you.
I'm not
Forget
gonna lie,
about it.
you look
I don't have-
pretty stunning with yours. You do look pretty stunning with yours.
Yeah, I've got a face for radio, buddy. But I'll tell you what, I really loved that your guest tonight was talking about cryptids, and in particular, you kind of were ending off with Admiral Byrd and the concept of an inner Earth and like a tropical, like whatever paradise in the center of the Earth, right? Do you feel like some of the stuff that was, and she's getting a bad rap, Linda Moulton Howe, but she also at one point had a pretty, she had, videos on Antarctica and the concept that, she'd had pilots that had flown over this area. Do you think that there's any reality to that in any way, shape, or form, that there could be a hole in the center of the Earth or even a massive hole at one of the poles?
Here's the problem with Linda Moulton Howe in today's society. And Linda Moulton Howe, I think, has been a great journalist, because she is one, and a great researcher over the years. Okay. We all love her because she's got tenure. Okay. And everything.
Sure.
But here's the problem. She's an 80-year-old lady who is encapsulated by this topic, and God bless her for it. But the problem that we have here is all the work she is doing is anecdotal evidence.
Okay.
So when she gets into something like, UFO bases underneath Antarctica or wherever it may be, she's not out there doing the research herself. All she's doing is talking to hopefully vetted eyewitnesses that she could never name. Okay. And I think in today's day and age, that's where a lot of people have turned against Linda. And look, I would love to interview her. I really would. I think she's an icon. I think that her work has really helped progress this field over the last 45 years.
Mhm.
I do believe that. Okay. But what's pushing a lot of people away from her is the internet has really, really been unfavorable to her. Okay. It has. Because people are tired of the anecdotal story. Now, for our audience, who's I think is a little bit more sophisticated in understanding that anecdotal evidence still is important. Okay. And my audience who believes, okay, or who knows, I shouldn't say who believes, but who knows we're never going to get the good video. We're never going to get the $1 million photo. We're never going to get the $1 million audio.
Yeah.
Okay. They understand, because most of our listeners are experiencers as well.
Right. Do you feel like shows that are being produced, and I really wasn't picking on Linda in particular, but I meant just kind of more along that form of production that is on this topic is blurring the lines between entertainment and the reality of this ever burgeoning topic, which we're starting to see more and more as a reality, right? It's not so much entertainment anymore. And so it was always seen in that entertainment light. And so some of the older material that was produced was kind of more entertainment, but mixed in, that historical, quote unquote, anecdotal evidence where now we want fact, right? So it doesn't really work in the now. Do you feel that's because the topic is changing so that old information no longer fits? Or like where is the line? The line is blurry, right? Because this is supposed to be an in-depth report or maybe a documentary
Look,
that we're seeing on something.
there are a number of shows out there right now, without mentioning their name, okay, who go out there specifically for aha gotcha moments or to demonize these people who've been doing this forever because they think they're just there to make a quick buck. Okay. I will be the first one to stand up for anybody in this field, whether it's those podcasts out there that are calling people out every day, but they're collecting, say, 50 to 150 or more dollars on super chats on a daily basis, or gaining major subscribers. Okay. I have no problem with that. I think anybody should be able to make money off of what they love doing. Okay. Yet, you get people who are bitching about the UFO community getting a $5 super chat, but they're sure excited when a Major League Baseball player signs 12 years for $350 million to their team. It's the same thing. If you love baseball so much, why don't you do it for free? If you love hockey so much like I do, would you play for free in the NHL instead of seeing players making 9, 10, 11 million a year?
Good point.
Right? We are allowed, and society is allowed to make money off of doing things that we do. Look, here at SOR, we don't make a lot of money. We don't. Okay? We're
Right,
trying to. No, hear me out for a second.
Okay, sure.
Okay? Because I want to finish this thought for our audience. We're trying to, because this is a business. We run this as a business. Okay? And I am allowed, and anybody is allowed, whether it's Tim, you listening, or whoever, are allowed to do things that you want to do to make money. If you love making buttons, or if you love knitting, or if you love baking cookies, I got a friend of mine who listens to this show. She loves baking cakes. She taught herself how to bake these real fancy type cakes, and they're gorgeous. Okay? They're absolutely gorgeous. And you know what? She's very popular in my town for her cakes. And I say, she charges $50, $75 for a cake, sometimes more if it's a wedding cake. Good on her. Why shouldn't she? She loves doing it. Okay? It's the same as what we do or what anybody does. Okay? It's okay to make money. And that argument needs to stop in our community right off the bat. Because you know what? Tonight, we got 7 super chatters who felt out of their love of this show that they wanted to donate to us. We didn't ask for it, but they wanted to donate to us. Am I supposed to say, oh, no, can't have any of that? Right? No, because that's their choice. If we sell advertisement for this show, that's a business choice. Okay? This is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I took the long road there, Tim. I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's great. I was really more just wondering if you felt like some of the more sensationalized stuff we're seeing on the UFO topic is perhaps hurting the reality of what the phenomenon potentially really is. And so it's not helping disclosure, it's not helping the public understand what it really is. It's actually programming them to have a preconceived notion of this before we know anything about it.
Yes, I think it's happening on both sides, though. It's not just the sensational side of Betty and Barney Hill. Okay. It's not just that, or the woo. It's not about the woo. Okay. Like I said to you about 45 minutes ago. Okay. My opinion is, what if we flip that? What if the science is causing the people to say, yeah, this is stupid. This is dumb. Okay. What if it's the science of dots in the sky, the science of not being able to solve anything, saying we need a crash retrieval. You can't do anything until you get your hands on it. You can do the mathematics for it with trajectory, speed, weight, g-forces. You can do that. Until you get one of the toys that's crashed here, you got nothing. All you have is mathematics. You're not getting any more videos. So where are you going to get your videos from? Are you going to now start accepting videos from Tim Senor or Eva or Frost Kitten or Julio or World Bigfoot Radio? Are you going to start doing that? Because you need videos. Thank you, and I'm unapologetic for this super chat. Appreciate that, Ollie. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
my question to you, Tim, without sounding rude or crass, give me an example of where science, okay, has helped move the UFO community forward.
I think the work of Dr. Boyd, when he did his review of the Agua Dia video and the rubber duck video, that research that came out of SCU that proved UAP exists.
That didn't prove anything, though. We already knew it existed.
Well, now we've proved it on paper, and we proved that the video can't be anything but. I mean, our best minds came up with it as being scientific fact that that's a UAP video. I think that's significant. The same. I think it's as significant as the video itself.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay. That's one. Still okay, you're rating it off of video, though. The mathematics off of video.
Yep.
Which is fine.
And so you're asking me where science has stepped up to the plate, really?
Yeah.
I feel like even some of the very simple science that's done on Skinwalker Ranch, the secret of Skinwalker Ranch, I think the very simple science they've done there to show that there's some kind of phenomenon going on there has opened up some eyes that were normally never have seen it, but they were flipping through the channels and saw that, and they saw scientists doing real investigations with data that they could show that there are things happening, and they fire rockets up and they get results in the skies. I think that may be a piece of scientific work that showed their work and maybe opened the public to the phenomenon on a wider scale.
Okay. So you're going off a television show, and I'm not trying to insult you here. I'm being devil's advocate.
Yeah.
You're going off a television show that is not telling you the real details of
The
what's
dumbed-down
going on in
version of
Skinwalker
science.
Ranch.
Yeah, they had to edit it for time restraints, but yes, they
Okay,
showed.
thank you, Philip Blair, for that amazing super chat.
Yeah.
Okay, really appreciate that, my friend. Merry Christmas to you too. Okay. So realistically, you can't count out because we don't know what the true analytics are, because Brandon Fugel, being a private owner, does not excuse me, give his statistics or the true information of what they're finding at Skinwalker Ranch out to the public. He doesn't have to.
Right. Yeah, and I was just going off the very simple dumbed down version that they present on the show, to be honest, just that it opened up people's minds to it. And it's reaching an audience that may not have seen it, but they are, subscribed to the channel. So they may have watched it and just been turned on to the possibility. And I'm not even saying whether it's real to them or not, but they're watching it.
See, if I was Brandon Fugel, I would put like how we go on the African cameras here?
Yeah.
I would put up a couple of those live 24/7
talked
channels.
about that, actually. And so has Blind Frog Ranch.
And you know what? Imagine the anomalies the public would find on that for them.
Dude, that's the whole concept behind what I do. Having live cams for everyone to check into.
Okay.
Love it.
But getting back to everything else that we're talking about tonight, we need a watchdog group. More than ever, we need a watchdog group. Okay.
You're so right.
Of media, proper media, vetted media, of civilians, of researchers, of experiencers, to join up
PR
in a nonprofit to be a watchdog for these communities,
with a good PR person that can,
with a good PR person,
get it out to the media.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And every time there's a budget, or every time we expect the government to come down with something, we release a report that will hit every media outlet in North America and potentially Europe and Australia, where we can build that media force and get our story out. Whether they choose to interview us or not about this, we don't know. That's the media's choice. But at least we are there being a proper advisory group of watchdogs on where the conspiracies are. Imagine what a watchdog group would do to NASA. You add Joe Rogan. You add Joe Rogan to that list. You add a number of the different major league podcasters out there to that list. You add them all. It's not just mainstream media. It's the podcasters and everything as well, dude. Okay? You add them to the list so that way they know that they have true facts.
Love.
Okay? This is what the government said. This is what Bill Nelson said, quote, end quote. Okay? Thank you, Love V Love. Very much appreciate it. Okay? That counter is what the media is missing, because they don't want this story. If a watchdog group provided that counter of what is good, what is bad, the media is going to jump on it because they have the information now. It's the same thing when the To the Stars Academy came out. You know what they told the media? Don't worry about the UFO field. Those people are a bunch of wingnuts. Okay? We're giving you DeLong. We're giving you Elizondo. We're giving you Fravor. You got the fighter pilot, the guy who ran the program. We're giving you Chris Mellon, the insider to the government. We're giving you it all. You don't need to investigate. Here's your quotes. We built it for you. Exactly the same thing as a watchdog group with a press release. We don't like the fact that Bill Nelson was talking to Navy pilots about their encounters about UFOs, yet the head of NASA is not talking about his own astronauts who have been quoted publicly about their UFO experiences. Why hasn't Bill Nelson been questioned regarding UFOs and NASA? That's where we need to get. If we want to clean this up, we don't need the SCU, even though their support would be brilliant. We do not need MUFON. We do not need anything. And you know what? This watchdog group, if done correctly, would also work for the cryptid world, where you could call out BFRO for their lying statistics. You could call out the paranormal groups for the way they're not getting any results anymore because they've just become television fodder. If we want to grow this industry for the good, there has to be changes.
Including internally, the internal checks, because the last thing we want to do is
100%, brother.
Is be representing that we are only doing interviews quid pro quo, and that we're trying to just earn, so that our real public representatives are like, yeah, we'll talk to you, but it's going to cost you $600.
Exactly.
Like, that's the last thing we want.
No, everything is quid pro quo, man. Right? We're there for the sake of the public.
Yeah.
Okay? We're not there to collect a paycheck. We're there. I mean, look at this, man. Okay? We're 26 minutes past the show. We still have 145 people hanging on to what we're saying. And thank you to those who are listening in Washington, D.C. and the alphabet agencies. Hi, we love you. Merry Christmas. Okay? Right?
Yeah.
We need to set a benchmark. Like Raz says, we don't have a benchmark. That is the problem. Bingo. What would a watchdog group do? They would set the benchmark.
Yeah. 100% right. But the names that you were listing were the ideal people as well. The last thing you want is somebody that's already associated with a group or a government person, or somebody that could be potentially paid.
But here's the thing. The group is going to be infiltrated. That's why you have a strong board of directors of 5 or 6 people who sign off on everything, and you vet the hell out of them. Like, for instance, I love Science Bob, but Bob has too many connections. Bob in the alphabet agencies, he could not be on that board of directors. Okay? I know I have zero, if I'm using myself as an example, I know I have zero connection to anybody in the UFO world or in the government. Do I know people to call? Sure I do. I have sources. That's my job as a journalist. But I'm not tied to any group outside of SOR. Therefore, I could be on the board of directors because I have no ties to government. Ross Coulthart could be on there. Bryce Zabel could be on there. Grant Cameron could be on there. Richard Dolan could be on there. Okay? Name some current researchers. Lily Nova could be on there. Carter Bouchard could be on there. Nate Rudd could be on there. The Crypto Guru could be on there. You could be on there. Terry Hall could be on there. Jessica Jones, Grant Baker, Marquise Williams.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Ben Jenkins.
YJ Overlander. Like, it's these people. It's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. People that don't have chips in the game or skin in the game, I guess. You're absolutely right. But know it enough to know when they're having the wool pulled over their eyes. Because I know
100%.
even for me, it took me a while to realize the reality of the truth on this topic and how it's just been just disguised as other things, minimized to look like it wasn't a big deal, and then again controlled as a topic, and then the narrative even forced down our throat as a threat, so that we can get financing for who knows what. Remember, Lou Elizondo did say that all the money that was supposed to go to his program got infiltrated before it ever hit their coffers. And that was a part of the reason that he spoke up, right? So we know that this sort of thing takes place. If nothing more, that piece of information in itself was extremely telling. So we know it happens. We've got a firsthand witness that's expressed it to the public. So, that's an eye-opening experience for people that trust that money
Yes,
is
it
spent
is.
the way it's told. Some people don't believe in black budget programs like that. They are out there,
Mm-hmm. Oh, my friend, I know.
Yeah. I love your Santa tracker. That is exciting stuff. Oh boy.
Hold on 1 second here. Potholes on Fraser Canyon have been there for 10 plus years. No investigation, never been done. It is totally unsafe to drive the Fraser Canyon to Cache Creek. Those potholes and snow removal that cripple the food chain need action now. All right. Well, you know what? There aren't that many potholes on there. I drive that highway quite a bit. Sorry, I'm just trying to see the latest updates on whether or not I am driving down to the lower mainland in the morning. Okay, beautiful. We got some flooding happening. That's nice. Let's see. Okay, that's east of me. Don't need that. Come on, you little bitch. Where are you? Just shy of Golden in the canyon. No, that's east of me. Kicking Horse. I love some of these names. Kicking Horse Canyon. Love it. Great name.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Give me the highway. The bridges to Vancouver are closed due to ice and snow. That's nice. Oh, we're good. We're good. Next update's at 6 a.m. But yeah, I really think that we need someone to come on in and do a serious look at putting a watchdog group together.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you should bring it up at your next group meeting. See what you can do. That's what I say. I bet your chat agrees.
What I think we need to do is we need to. I'm going to start putting the word out there. I really am going to start putting the word out there, just to see what reaction.
Dave, you're a hero, man, because you do have the pull to do this sort of thing. I think it'd be great.
I think it'd be good.
Make those calls.
I think we would get a lot of support. I really do think we would get a lot of support.
What would you name the group?
Pardon me?
What would you name your group? You can have fun with it here. We're just banter.
No, I would probably do it something seriously. It wouldn't be associated with Spaced Out Radio. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no, of course.
Okay, it definitely would not.
It would be its own thing, right?
I think it would be something along, in the Stars Academy.
You might have a hard time with that one. You might as well just name it Skyfart.
Could call it Skyfart. Yeah.
A name alike.
Yeah. But I mean, in order to have immediate success with it, you would need some of those big names out there. You would need Ross Coulthart. You would need some of the bigger UFO channels like Kurt J. Mungle. You would need some of those big names like Bryce Zabel, Dolan. You'd have to have conversations with these people. Eventually you would have to find a financial backer or take donations to help alleviate costs because of website and advertisement and everything. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to call it something, that is patrolled, and you would have to have people from around the world patrolling this. Right?
Mm-hmm. I think you could turn the word truth into an acronym, TRUTH. That'd be a good organization name. And it would be something along taking something UFO throughout history. I don't know. You could work with truth. I think truth would be a great organization's name on both sides. But anyways, you run with it. It's your baby.
I think people fear. I like that, but I think in this field, thank you, Ozzy Rob and your Ham Hawks for that awesome super chat. I think what you would have to do though is stay away from the word truth, and the reason why is because
presumptuous.
Everybody has their own truth.
Good point.
Okay, what is your truth? Your truth could be different than mine.
It's a great point.
You're
see, this is why it's your organization. Boom. I love it.
Hi, Swishy Ishy. Yeah, I mean, you need a short acronym.
Right.
As
long as it doesn't spell out something horrible, I think you're fine. But that's great, man. I'm so glad that you're thinking this way. Yeah, and hey, moving forward, if you're serious, you let me know. Anything I can do to help, I would be down for something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
that's
what
right
we need to do is build a board of advisors, right? Build a board of advisors in order to put it together. And they have to come from all walks of life. Like it may be people that I don't agree with, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to have an open concept. And on your website and your social media pages, you need to have everybody's name listed who's on your team.
Mm-hmm.
If their name isn't on that list, you're not part of it.
Right. You can't be anonymous.
No, you can't be anonymous.
Yeah.
You have to be out there and put your names on the line. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that would also enhance, I believe it would also enhance the journalism of it all. It would. Right?
Yeah. I think it's great. I'm excited. I hope we roll with this. I bet your audience will be stoked to see how it plays out. You got an amazing audience tonight again, by the way. Gotta thank everybody there.
There's Squishy. Hello, SOR.
Getting super chats here for Christmas.
We're gonna call it Doug Shelby. Way too much petty grappling jealousy in the fields of woo, just my opinion. We're gonna call it the group Doug Shelby.
Oh, look at that. Julie Farrell's in the chat. She just had a birthday. Happy birthday, Julie.
Call it We're Watching.
Oh,
WWU. Yeah. Is there a Western Washington University? Couldn't call it WWU.
Yeah, I like it though.
UWED, UFO Watchdog.
Simple. Yeah.
How about PhD, Phenomenon, or PWD, Phenomenon Watchdog?
I mean, I like it.
Whatever it is, brain's not functioning properly.
No, I think it's great. I think you got the concept down. I think it's beautiful.
Grandizer says send super chats to see if Tim is wearing pants.
The mystery. There's no way I'm going to reveal it because he might be right. I might be pantsless. I'm definitely hairless. I don't know if that's a big mystery.
There's Deb from SAC.
Big reveal there.
Deb's coming to Vegas. Tracy Scott says, besides Coulthard, which journalist would be your dream team on this? Brian Bender, but he's not really in the UFO field.
Daniel Otis, maybe.
D. Dean Johnson, Daniel Otis, Christopher Sharp, Bryce Zabel. Believe it or not, Tucker Carlson. Can't stand him. Still want to hit him. Okay. He's just got one of those faces that you want to punch. Okay. And I don't agree a lot with Tucker Carlson because I think I think he's a used car salesman. That's the way he acts. Okay.
I don't think that he listens to the answers before he responds sometimes.
No.
He's just like a robot programmed and he's just reading. He's not actually listening, which I think is a mistake if you're doing a real interview. But yeah. Wow. We went way over tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. You know what we should call it since they're not using it anymore? UAPTF.
In your face. Burn.
Why not?
Yeah. You probably can get the domain name. I wouldn't be surprised. That's hilarious.
Doug Shelby, no, it's not Nick Pope. It's not Mr. Velcro that I'm talking about.
Just name it Dave. Just name the organization Dave. Everyone loves Dave. Who doesn't want to get involved with Dave? Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And if you turn that into an acronym somehow, although the V would be a little tricky, I think that would be great. Just call it Dave.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you would definitely easily get people to get on that board. Easily get people to do it. I mean, that's really great stuff.
I like it. PhD by Jules. People honoring disclosure.
Leave it to Jules. She's bringing
That's a great name.
Yeah,
that is something that I would I would look.
Yeah,
Super Duke. But Tucker Carlson has the balls to do the stories no other MSM will touch. Yeah, but Duke, I still want to hit him. He's just got one of those faces. Ever since he wore the bow tie. You got to put Dogface's comment up there for the acronym for Dave. Oh, and Robert White has durable and versatile evidence. Dogface had department about verifying everything, Dave. Discovery and Value Enterprises. There's so many of them. Oh my gosh, everyone's got some great ones. Veracity. World Bigfoot Radio sliding one in. I like Discovery. If we combine those two, Dave, Discovery and verification or verifying everything.
I think it's gold. Oh man, your chat really came through.
By the way, I put the name in there in the chat for you, the Doug Shelby.
Lurks a lot thinks THC, Tinfoil Hat Club. That'd be tough to swallow at the Hill. Discovery and Value Enterprises from Philip Blair. Durable and versatile evidence. I just think Robert had some gold there. I mean, it's good stuff, you guys. Can we start with disclosure?
Look at YJ. Disclosure, anomaly, vindication, exposition.
YJ coming through
Love
with
it.
the gold. He probably drives the Jeep too, I'll bet you. He's the kind of guy
He does drive it.
Drives four-wheel. Does he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, we're gonna bring when you come up here, we're gonna bring YJ down to come 4x4ing with us.
I knew he 4x4. I'm probably somehow knew he had. Oh, that's great. Attaboy, YJ. I knew there's a reason I liked you. All right.
He's like 5 hours north of me.
That's cool. You guys should blow smoke signals at each other.
No, it's too
Or
many
however
mountains.
you communicate up there in Canada. I don't know. Just kidding. Disclosure
We all
Alliance
have delivery
Vanguard.
moose.
Oh, Disclosure Alliance of Vanguard Earthlings.
Nice.
That's creamy. I like it. Your chat is so much fun, dude. I could just do this all night. You just come up with acronyms for your name.
There we go. Yeah, you need a good acronym.
Yeah.
I'm not big on the acronyms, but you need a good acronym.
If you're gonna
for
do
it.
this, yeah, or come up with just a good name of the group. Like, I mean, whatever. I'm sure chat group name. I think Enigma
Right.
is already taken. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Oh, harsh.
I don't get it.
If I have to watch A Christmas Story one more time, I'm going to pull on my hair out. Oh, wait.
You already did. I have, just so you know, my shopping is 100% done. I have officially called it. For the first time in my Christmas history, I have dodged Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. I've dodged.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I almost got caught. I almost got caught today twice, once on my phone and once on YouTube, because I was playing Christmas music on YouTube and I had an album going, and all of a sudden, song number 11, All I Want for Christmas Is You. Got to change that. By the way, if you want some really good heavy metal Christmas music, may I suggest Twisted Sisters' Twisted Christmas album from a few years ago?
For
It's
sure.
fantastic.
Mhm.
And if you like a lot of the older traditional songs, Rob Halford from Judas Priest, if you go on YouTube, he's got like 3 Christmas albums out.
Huh.
And it's all in
Meatloaf,
metal
too.
context. It's all in metal context, and it sounds amazing.
Very
If you're
cool.
a metalhead, it sounds amazing.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, YJ, unfortunately, my 4-wheel drive truck is a Suburban that got smashed into twice. Brand new bourbon. Just, I know you're probably going to be like, bourbon, but remember, 5 kids. So I'm kind of limited as to what I can buy. But yeah, the Chevy just took a beating today. It was just, don't live at the bottom of a hill, I guess, is the answer there for me.
Truth. True.
Hey, I don't live near big trees that could fall on my house, at least. But yeah,
That's just my yard.
bottom of the hill. Why did I live at the bottom of a hill? Good stuff. Really good stuff. I saw a couple other questions in the chat there. They got by me. Big Tex, you can contact me through Dave. Big Texas is wanting to get my contact information. Just grab it from Dave, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to call it the night here.
Let's do it. Thanks for the invite. It's been fun.
Oh, no worries, bud. I could just hear my dogs pacing upstairs, so I know what that means. That old Davey's going to have to run upstairs and take him out for a pee. So,
Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Merry Christmas to you, Tim, and your beautiful family, man.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you too. Enjoy your new toque and give my love to everyone and keep them warm.
I will, my friend. And to all of our listeners out there, just a reminder, there will be no After Hours or Jessica Jones this weekend or the following weekend due to the holidays. Head on over tomorrow to World Bigfoot Radio channel with Super Duke. I believe it starts at 5 p.m. Central time or Mountain time or somewhere around there, where he's going to get into a bunch of really cool stories. He's got a Christmas Eve Santa special. So go hang out there. Hi, Chili Peen. How are you? Thank you, Duke, for covering those days, man. That's real special of you. To the rest of you, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, even though I don't mean happy holidays because I am a Merry Christmas kind of guy. Okay. And thank you so much for everything you guys have done for Spaced Out Radio so far. I will be live back here as of Monday, the 26th, Boxing Day here in Canada and in Europe. Okay, so thank you so much. We're going to run it out next week, 26th through 30th, and we'll have a good time with more great stories and interviews for you. So have a safe Christmas. Don't forget, Santa leaves in 10 minutes, and make sure you guys are watching at noradsanta.org. We love you, and thank you for being a part of us and making us grow. You guys are amazing. See you later.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.